Hey, here we are, guys, with the cast of characters. We've got Mr. Chuck at the top. I'm going to make the screen bigger. I think I could fit everybody in bigger cubes here until we get more people. So we might as well show off their wonderful faces and their outfits. And I'm preparing for my journey I have to go on in a few days. So I just make sure the hat fits first. Everything else is still being stitched up. And we'll say hi to everybody in the chat. So we've got, let's see, we got Bob Our Photos, we've got Luke and Art Bear. Good to see Art Bear in here. We are doing well. And let's see, we've got a lot of people, I guess, are not showing up. I mean, I'm showing 14 people, but I don't see 14 people on my chat. So interesting. So we'll see who else shows up. Obviously, based on what I could see driving around today with the traffic, it's typical where everybody is buying their Christmas gifts a few days before. The traffic was horrendous. The malls were full. So hey, that's. I remember when I was much younger, in my first what I consider my first real job, and I was engaged, and even when I got married, you know I basically did most of my shopping like maybe maybe a week before Christmas, because that's just the way it was with when I got my paycheck, when I, and said, okay, now I got enough money to buy gifts. I got my paycheck, and I'd be running out buying stuff the last minute, and that was almost my normal routine. And now I'm kind of just the opposite. I try to get a lot of shopping done here or there during the year and put stuff aside, so I'm not doing everything the last minute, but. It's always fun around the holidays, a little bit crazy. Drunk wedding photographer's in here and saying he was in the 12th grade at the time that, the tsunami hit, that John talked about in the chat earlier, 20th anniversary of the tsunami in Thailand. And I told him, that's one thing that's not on my bucket list, but as John says, that isn't anything you prepare for. It just, as I say, what happens, and it just happens, and then you hope that you're still around after all is said and done, because a lot of people were not so lucky, obviously. Horrible thing. And I guess, do we have David in here? Because someone said, did you see David? I know.
No, nothing yet. I'm monitoring here the green room.
Okay.
No, I don't see.
We hope to get a few more people in here, but we realize everybody's out and about, and probably company parties and community Christmas parties ahead of time and that kind of stuff. So,
hey, can I give a suggestion on what not to get for Christmas?
Absolutely. Well,
this.
What's that?
It's made by Abbott Labs. It's a continuous glucose monitor.
Oh.
Highly inaccurate. And very expensive, so don't bother. Don't bother giving one or getting one.
Wow.
Well, is that something that has to be removed by your doctor, or can you take it off?
No, I mean, you can put it on. You can just get it at the pharmacist. It's a sensor that goes into your skin, and then it's got this reader that reads your glucose level. But it's just I don't know how the technology works, but this is just not accurate. You wake up in the morning and it goes 7.2. I go 7.2. How can it be that high, right? And then, 20 minutes later, without eating anything or nothing, and it's all of a sudden it's 8.2. I go, what the? So, and then I write it down because I just got my HB1AC test last week, and my my glucose levels, you know, it's getting a little bit higher as I get older, you know, and it's a tough thing to deal with, especially during Christmas. You can't eat anything.
Yeah, you don't want to be just eating salad.
You know, well, you know, you guys know what I'm talking about,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, no, John, my wife with these GLP-1 drugs, the Ozempic, she had done
Mhm.
fantastic. I mean, she had been taking that for a long now
What's it
for
called?
the Ozempic.
Hey,
the
can
pen.
you type that in for me, Gustavo?
Okay, it's a GLP-1 drugs. They are all very popular. Unfortunately, get misused by people that just want to lose weight.
People are
And
using it to lose weight instead of for what it was intended.
Oh,
yeah,
oh, what's it, this thing?
no,
Glucose
it's a small.
passage?
No.
It's like an injection. You
It's an
inject
injection.
yourself with it.
Oh, really?
It's like a pen. It's like a pen. Like an injection
Mm, mm.
that you do, and there's
Yeah,
You don't
different.
mind, Gustavo? You
I send it to
send
you
that
by
to me?
email, and a couple of.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
But it's
Good.
it's a compound called GLP-1. It's potentially revolutionary.
Oh, that's what I need. I got to get this thing down.
My wife, after she had been using that, I mean so much that they wanted to take her out of the medicine, and she fought
Wow.
with the endocrinologist and said, "Come on," she because she went back to normal values, correct, for several months, and then she said, "No, uh, I'm not going to go back." And the one of the side effects is that you lose weight if you can tolerate it. Some people get vomit and diarrhea, but if you tolerate, which most people do, and the side effects will go away, it also had the side benefit of losing weight. So it's a fantastic drug.
Oh, hey, thanks. I figured you guys come through for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's what us old codgers can come up with something, right? We're all
we
in the
just
same
exactly.
boat.
we just tell you, wait a minute, we got to go look through our medicine cabinet. We'll be right
Yeah,
back.
exactly. No
But
point
it's
asking. Can't
revolutionary. But
ask Joe Man's land.
exactly. Anyway, so we digress here.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm a geologist. I'm not allowed to do medical advice. So this is between friends,
Yeah.
Understand. Got it.
So I
relating
just want to
experiences.
remind everybody we got our first photo review for 2025 on January 4th. We have 22 submissions so far that have been sent in. So send them in, try to send some in between all your activities because January 4th is going to creep up on us really, really fast,
Yes.
especially with everything going on right now. So if you have a moment in time and can send in a few pictures, that would be great. But we're at 22 as of this afternoon. So my last weekly live stream event will be the 28th of this month, next Saturday. And I wish I could say I have some famous guests that are going to come on the last show, but of course I do, because you're looking at some of those famous people on the screen right now. So hopefully they'll be around for my last regularly scheduled weekly show. And like I said, the 4th of January starts the photo review for 2025 season. Same time, same channel, first Saturday of every month, followed by the return of our friend. Let me get my finger going the right way here. Our friend Chuck on January 11th. Same time, but not the same channel. You're going to have to go on AP Studios on Chuck's channel to connect to the show for the remainder of the Saturdays of every month, and you'll see me just on the first Saturday of every month. So we look forward to Chuck coming back on his channel, and wish him the best, and thank everybody for their support of me for like a year and a half. I think I've been pretty much doing this, and I appreciate
Year and a
every.
half.
And we're going to have a few presentations that Gustavo's going to do. I may do a presentation on a camera that John already talked about with Mr. Wu, the Nikkormat FT2.
Oh, good.
And I have one of those that I was going to talk about a while ago, and I just kept pushing it off. Well, we got onto other things, so I just kind of pushed it off. But we'll try to talk about that a little bit tonight. Luis said that he may have some images later on tonight that he's going to be able to share with us. And if anybody has anything in their mind that stands out from the shows that we've done over the last year and a half that you want to reminisce about or talk about or joke about, something that was said or something that somebody did over the last year and a half, feel free to bring it up next Saturday's show, because we just want to have a nice, relaxing show next Saturday. And it'll be obviously after Christmas, and then we'll be kind of like sliding. Before you know it, we're going to be sliding into the new year, where for those of us that still write out checks, we'll keep writing 2024, even though we should be writing 2025. I've done that a few times. A few things. One thing that's it's good, and it could be bad if you're not someone who's really careful with your keeping track of your money and your expenditures. But B&H Photo and they have the Paybu card right now. They got a special on Nikon gear, 0 interest if paid in full within 24 months. There are some caveats to that. Minimum purchase is $720 on select items, but the select items list is very, very large. Quite a list of products, and some of them marked down over $500, which could be on certain lenses that might be $500 off, on certain body and lens kits that are in some cases close to $500 or more off. So there are some really, really good deals right now, and those deals end on December 23rd. So go to the website for complete details on the offer. And I'll just warn you ahead of time, you don't want to mess up if you go that way, because if you violate the agreement, or you don't pay it off in 2 years, or you're late by 1 day on that last payment, you're going to get hit with a 35.99% interest charge for the whole amount. So the interest rate on the card is crazy, but if you're competent, you're going to be fine, and you're going to be able to take some advantage of some really good deals and not pay any interest on it. So
0 interest, and also you get your taxes back, correct? Like any Paybu.
Yeah.
So your state taxes.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a really good deal. And like I said, a lot of stuff was anywhere from, especially lenses, like a lot of them $300 to over $500 off, and the kit lenses with the cameras as well. So, and all the modern cameras, all the, the Z52, the Z6 III, the Z8, the Z9, so on and so forth. So it may just be the right time for you to upgrade what you have, or get a second body, or whatever you want to do. There is a video posted on Nikon Rumors that you may want to watch regarding the new Z9 firmware update version 5.10. If you want to see a quick overview of what that upgrade is, and it is predominantly video enhancements, such as the ability to change the size and the translucence of your histogram, and change the color of your zebra bars in video, and things of that nature. But it's very video centric. But Richie there's a video that Richie put together where he talks about all the improvements that are on this new firmware update. So you can just find it quick on Nikon Rumors and click on it, and it'll send you to YouTube, and you can watch his video. And it's not really, really long. I don't think it's any longer than 30 minutes. I think roughly 30 minutes, maybe. And so if you're, for me, a lot of that stuff is isn't anything that made me go in and make changes to what I personally do, the way I do things. But for some, I mean, it's going to have, you know, some features on there that you really, really want. And now Steve Perry sent me an email. Sent a lot of people, I'm sure, that subscribed to him, sent out an email, and he was reminding us. This is a very good reminder that he gets people saying, "Oh, you know, I went out to shoot and my pictures were really soft. They weren't in focus. You know, I don't know what's going on." And it turns out that, well, if you have your thermostat set in your car at, say, 68 or 70 degrees in the wintertime, and you're going to get out of your car and it's 35 or 40 degrees out or colder, you really need to have your camera has to get acclimated to that temperature. And what happens is, if you leave the lens hood on the camera when you take it out of your car, you're going to get you have some heat retention in the lens element on your lens, and so that radiates some heat inside of your lens hood, and then you have the cold air trying to come in. So what you end up with is an out of focus image. So what you need to do is to take your lens hood off for a few minutes when you go to get out of that car and get your lens acclimated. And what I tend to do is, if I have the heat on in the car and I have my cameras in the back seat and I have a separate heat control, I turn off the heat to the back. So a lot of the heat doesn't get into the back seat. I usually put something over the cameras so none of the heat doesn't get right on it. And I try to keep the temperature as low in the car that I can tolerate as I'm going to my destination, you know, knowing what the outside temperature is, so that I don't have the lens fog up on me right away and have a problem. Because once the sucker fogs up, you could lose 20 minutes of shooting time waiting for that lens to, you can't wipe the outside of that lens enough times to get a picture, believe me, if you've run into that situation. So, but if you also, you could be because you got the lens hood on. So you just got to remember that. So Sanjit's in the house. So hello to him. Who else we got in here? Rakesh is here. Real Nikon lover. Jim's here. Yeah, Jim's killing himself doing home repairs and stuff for his daughter on his daughter's house. They had I think it was a big water leak in the house from, I think it was their water heater or something, and did a lot of damage in the house. And he's been diligently working there and helping them, ripping off sheetrock and redoing sheetrock, and you know, probably ripping up carpet and tile or whatever, and doing a lot of work in their house. So he's saying he's 68 years old, and I'm sure right now he probably feels more like he's 88 years old, especially if you're on your knees doing a lot of the work. I know my knees cannot, I cannot be on my knees very long doing any kind of tile work anymore. So let's see. So yeah, so Drunk Wedding Photographer saying he got his first lens purchase with Nikon Direct. Usually buys secondhand 24 millimeter 1.8 G. Very hard to find a good deal on a secondhand one. Good for you. Good for you. This is something for more people who do, obviously, photography for a living. You know, the Nikon NX Mobile Air app now supports Frame.io for the Z9, Z8, and Z6 III cameras for Android format only right now. The latest version will allow users to manually or automatically upload recorded video files to Frame.io, where they can be shared with others for real-time cloud collaboration. Additionally, when selecting video files for upload, they can be filtered by your rating system or your file format. So the support for Frame.io will provide a more efficient workflow by seamlessly connecting the entire video production process from recording to final delivery. This feature is especially useful when speed is of the essence, such as with live event social media creation, as well as news and sport reporting. And believe it or not, although it's not really anything even really worth talking about, is Nikon did put out new firmware updates for the D5600 and the D500, believe it or not, which is just the network default password type of thing that they did for a lot of the bodies over the last probably within the last year. So it's nothing that adds features or anything to your camera. And Adobe's December release is going to have support for the Z50 version 2, Mark II, however you want to word it. And then they had an interesting article in having done work for NASA in my career, or part of my career. Astronaut Don Pettit had a live stream discussion on his photography from the International Space Center. And he uses primarily the Nikon Z9. So some of those images that he takes or has taken from the ISS are shared, and they're on the Nikon Rumors website right now. So you can look at some of those images that he's taken. And then a rumor that some people are getting very excited about, but Nikon Rumors basically says, hold on to your horses. We've been down this road before, is rumors from China that Nikon's going to launch a new AF/AFD to Z mount lens adapter in 2025 so that you can use your old screw drive autofocus lenses on a new mount and hook it up to your Z mount camera. And obviously you'd have to have a built-in focus motor within that FTZ adapter. It could be an FTZ3, or they're saying an FTG SC. I don't know where they got that nomenclature from, but they're also saying take it with a grain of salt, because a similar rumor came out in 2022 and it never happened. So, the one thing that many people that have been upset that they can't use the older glass on the current Z bodies have to remember is, even if they come out with this, which will make many people happy, it's not going to improve the performance of your lens. It's just going to let you use it. So, obviously the AFD lenses don't focus as fast as a Z mount lens does, or a newer lens does. So, you'll be able to use it, but don't expect that all of a sudden it's going to work twice as good as it did on your old camera body, because it's just going to be allowed to work on your new camera, and that's if they come out with it. So who really knows? I mean, there's that's why they call it Nikon rumors. You never know. Terry's commenting here, and this is something that Gustavo is going to talk about. Adobe's changing the price for their subscriptions for the people who pay for a month starting January 15th, and no change if you pay for a full year. Yeah, I'm one of those that pays month to month, so I'm going to have to relook at my pricing strategy and probably have to. Well, I mean, it makes no sense for me to pay month to month if I'm going to get screwed. I'll just have to pay it for the whole year. That's basically it. And we've got Jim saying, anybody interested in some space shuttle memorabilia, let him know. He has a space shuttle pinball machine that's complete but needs refurbishing.
Ooh.
Okay, you got to sneak us a picture of that.
Exactly.
Go run and take well, if you're at your daughter's house, you won't be able to, but sneak a picture of that and send it in so people can see what it looks like. Sounds pretty cool.
Indeed. And we got several people here associated with the space shuttle system, including Mr. Jeff, but also Rosario, correct?
Yeah, we haven't heard from we used to nickname her NASA Nancy, right? And we haven't seen Nancy in a while. Hopefully, I think she wasn't she supposed to retire in this month? I believe, correct?
Yeah.
So hopefully everything's going well with her, and they didn't like tie her down to her chair so she can't retire. You know,
I see a lot of her in Facebook.
she's in Facebook, active in Facebook.
Okay.
And Woody's here now. That's good. Hello, hello. And let's see what else we have. Well, I want to kind of break up the rumors. I don't like to do them all at once. Gustavo, do you want to share any of your stuff?
Yeah, we can go to that presentation. Is there
Yeah.
already?
Let me just get rid of the comment here on the bottom of the screen.
And this doesn't take long. Huh? We make sure that you tell me when you see them.
Yeah, I see it. So I'm going to click on it. We got Gustavo's going to do, has a few little presentations for everybody to talk about. So we're going to let him rock and roll here and get going here. I'll bring up his slides and make them a little bit bigger on the screen.
And Terry was talking about it. So this is for those that are using Photoshop. This is something that we need to do, preferably before January 15. Let me explain here. So Adobe Photoshop new subscription system, okay? The new price is increases effective January 15. That actually some of these Photoshop photography packages, correct, have been on the same price, I believe, since 2013. So now it's 11 years, and it will be 12 years pretty soon here. The important thing is that some of the existing photographic packages, which is what Terry was referring, what Jeff was referring, will be grandfathered at the current price. Other than for most of us, and certainly me, I'm in the $9.99 per month, paying monthly with 20 gigabyte. That package is the one that is going to disappear. So the only way to keep that going is to convert at the same price of $9.99 per month, which is to a year plan, right? For 100 say 110. I have that on the next one, correct?
Yeah.
So that's there is some good resources explaining all the changes in different YouTube channels. I think Mac Ploskowski, YouTube and Forage Chapudes and Chong is a good resource. So you guys want to learn a little bit more. But basically after that, you need to make sure that your subscription doesn't elapse anymore, because that if you get out of the subscription system, then you will need to go to another subscription system, which are a little bit more expensive, right? You can see here, these are the new subscription system. You can see the Lightroom, Photoshop, which is what we have, will go from $9.99 to $19.99 per month.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
19.
So
I feel like these guys are just
but at
scamming
least,
us.
John, they at least they kept grandfathering us, correct? Yeah, and
the thing is
that's just
the way I look at it, in the old days when you used to buy the package, when they came out with an upgrade,
yes,
you were paying hundreds of dollars for that upgrade. So and now, basically I look at it like, okay, for $10 a month, and like I said, I'm definitely going to do it, so I'm still paying the $9.99 a month.
exactly.
Is as they upgrade and they add stuff to it, that's kind of what I feel like I'm paying for, is to get all those upgrades for that $9.99 a month, rather than having to reload software, every time they come out with something, the old fashioned way, and pay, lots of times you paid more than $100 for those upgrades. They charge you for the upgrade for Lightroom, and then they charge you for the upgrade for Photoshop.
What's the alternative?
Well, the alternative is you'd have to either use Nikon software or somebody else's, and where you pay for the package, but then if they do update it and it's not a free update, then you're going to be paying for it anyway.
And for me, John, I don't use Lightroom. I use Adobe Camera Raw, but the Adobe Camera Raw Photoshop, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Is a
Adobe
great
Camera Raw is really Lightroom without the
the library.
without the file management part of it.
Exactly.
So
So that's what I use, and for me, having tested some prior software, I think still Photoshop and Lightroom are the best, correct? And to tell you the truth, you they keep your subscription going very well, and they give you the updates regularly, correct? We get a new version of Photoshop every year with multiple fixes. So at 9.99, I think it's good value. That's why it's worthwhile, making sure that everybody stay on that plan, and that's why I make this today. In addition to so John, in addition to if your Photoshop elapses, then you have to go into this 19.99 per month that has 1 terabyte of cloud storage, right? But if you don't want to use cloud storage, I don't think many of us use cloud storage or not the Adobe cloud storage. Then it makes more sense to try to stay with the current package. There are other packages for Lightroom only and all that stuff that have different prices, but these here that you see are the main ones. So look at those resources, those YouTube. Before you make your decision, but I wanted to remind everybody. So
yeah.
let me go to the next slide here.
Well, plus you do get other things that are included beyond that too that they don't really promote or talk about too much.
Yeah.
Like I do all my thumbnails using let me see here. Well, no, I use. Let me see if I can find it here. I got to get to the homepage. I use Adobe Express to do my thumbnails.
Exactly.
Very quick. I could do a thumbnail. Now, once you have one in there, you could pop one out in about a minute on a bad day. It's not really hard to do. So, I mean, there's other things in there that are included that you may not think about or use that often, but it is in there.
And I don't know exactly how many computers you can have with the same license. Typically, I think I have one in my laptop.
I think it's 3.
I think yeah,
might be 3.
Yes, and you can keep the version of Lightroom also that work with your tablets, right? So anyway, I think it's so. What do we need to do? Correct. So to make the changes, those like Jeff or I that were in the 9.99 per month plan, which is I think the great majority of the photographer, because that was the original plan. Okay, you need to change it from the monthly to the annual plan. They want to charge you the same price, but in one lump sum, okay, which would be $120 per year. Okay, the steps are you go and click on your create a cloud uh, icon, okay, and that brings you to this the created cloud. Then you go into manage account, and from manage account you get to this page that you have here, and they will tell you exactly. You just after that you just need to update your subscription. If you have any balance because you're having go through your entire period, they will refund the balance immediately, and then you get charged only for the difference. Right? So it was very easy to do. So, but the only thing is, I would recommend to do it before January 15th, and that's why we decided to bring it here to our Saturday meeting. Correct?
I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Exactly, just to make sure that you don't fill out and then you are forced to either look for other software or have to go for a more expensive package. Okay, so that's what I have, guys. On this one, I have another presentation actually on processing and particularly from the recent changes they made in Adobe Photoshop 2025 that was in October. I've been working on that one for a while, but I have something for you. But guys, if you are in this plan, so take some time and do these changes so that you can take advantage of grandfather your accounts. So that's what I have for the time being, Jeff. So we can go back to the regular show.
Yeah, but I mean that's an important thing to talk about because I didn't realize they were doing that until you mentioned it to me.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, like I said, for me the $9.99 plan was good enough because I'm not using the cloud. I don't care about cloud storage at all through Adobe, so I don't want to pay extra for something that I don't use. And I just having access to me, Lightroom and Photoshop is, and then a few other packages that you have access to as well can come in handy from time to time. So it's not really a bad deal. I mean, it's costing you less than going to McDonald's once when you think about it. If you're paying $9.99, you're going to spend more than $10 going to McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just want to keep
a couple of clarification here from the chat. Obviously, people, most of the people here are aware, correct? Indeed, if you were paying annually, like James mentioned, you already will. You don't have to do anything, correct? So you pay annually. You just stay with your plan. My suggestion, even to James, go there and check, correct? Because sometimes I don't know if I pay monthly or I think by the time I joined Photoshop, it was only possible to pay month by month. Okay, so go and click on that icon and check your manage account and check that you are okay. Right, and I think Robert R. Okay, is also mentioning that if you have the monthly they will give you the chance to, and that elapses. They will put you in some on the 1599 with the 20 gigabytes. Okay, and so you don't do anything, then they will raise from 999 to 1599, and you stay with the 20. But they want to move the great majority of the people to that 1999 with 1 terabyte because they are encouraging people to move into the cloud. Correct? And many of us don't like that, but they want to have the photos, your photos in the cloud.
Right? My head's in the clouds enough. I don't need to have another one.
Exactly.
And
Hey,
J-Rod,
one question, hey Gustavo, I was just looking. Okay, my plan is $9.99 a month, right?
Yeah, so you need to do
But
that.
I need to do what?
So you need to go to that page to. So you need. Let me check again, Jeff, so that he can follow.
Okay, give me a second.
But if you get it shows like it's $661 a year if you buy this entire.
Yes, exactly. But
What is that?
That's
no, that
you
is.
don't want to,
Okay, so let me check again. So Jeff, so
yeah,
so
you
that,
don't want to. Don't even think about that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean they want you to hit that agree
No,
button.
that's like stuff that John, you're not going to probably even care about.
Yeah, there's
I don't know what it is.
cloud that has a lot of other programs, correct? If
That's using all your apps through the cloud. That's using Lightroom through the cloud, Photoshop through the cloud, all your apps through the cloud. If you got your apps, if you're using your apps and they're on your desktop or on your laptop, which a lot of us do, you don't need that.
well, and also it has all the other software, correct? All the Adobe, all the so. What is that? It's not Photoshop. The other big software from Adobe for making computer aided design and all that. I used to work with that.
Oh.
Correct. So you, as a photographer, you don't need that. Correct.
Yeah, I just want Photoshop, and that's it.
Exactly. So for that one, so John, you need to go. If you have a Mac, you will have that little icon of the cloud. If not, you logging into your account. Correct.
Yeah,
But
I'm in the invoice and billing history, and they charged me $11 with tax, I assume, on November 26th. And
exactly.
that was
But you
okay.
should
So
your page should look exactly like this. Exactly like this. If you go to manage account, correct?
yeah.
It brings you to this page. Now this is the page after I press update subscription, correct?
Okay, I got it.
So you want to click underneath your name where it says manage account, which will be underneath your name.
Yes.
And it says welcome to your account.
Right. And then you want to
you get this page.
then the next page is this page.
And then the only other thing you have to do is update subscription, because they already knew your billing address and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they already know what you have. They already know what you're paying, and you're basically just saying, I'm going to update it to pay it in one lump sum for the year, and then you keep your $9.99 a month.
And you see, I updated mine on December 18, correct? And that's when my next payment will be December 18, 2025.
Creative crowd. I see my name on the side and it says edit profile, but I don't see the.
Let me see if I can help you, John. So if
I see the learn more. Plans and payment.
Well, let me pretend I'm going to do me. Well, which I should. If I go to my screen right now.
Exactly.
If I go to my screen right now, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Right. If you click on your cloud icon for the Adobe, okay, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see all the apps. You hit the home. If you see something else, hit home. You're going to see this. Exactly. And under my name, it says manage account.
That's what you need to click.
So manage account. Click on that manage account underneath your name. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll show you what the next screen is.
Live.
Get rid of that. Go.
The good thing, Jeffrey, doesn't show any private stuff, so you can do it with confidence.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. Okay. And
it hasn't gone to manage. You're still on the screen. Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta get rid of what's here, and I gotta bring up the other one. So give me a second. Give me a second. We will do it live. And I will bring up my next screen that came up for me. And so here's what came up for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Get rid.
So from here, where do you go?
Well, so for here, it's trying to bump me up, obviously.
Oh, that's
Creative Cloud all apps. I don't want that.
Exactly.
So
that's not mine. Maybe they're charging you $35. Yeah.
Well, they. Let me see. Okay, so down here, you can see my billing and payment. It does say I pay $9.99 a month. Well, that's saying. What did I click on? Oh.
Yeah, you see, mine was different. It says manage plan, perhaps.
US dollars. Yeah, US dollars, $9.99 a month is what it says.
Right.
It's telling you what I have. That I have not the US $9.99 a month. Next payment January 8th.
Yeah, Jeff, click on view offer terms or something, because mine. It appears where you say, for me, give me the option to stay with the same plan, but they are offering you something more expensive. No, that
right. No, I clicked view offer terms, and it's just giving me a bunch of gobbledygook.
What about manage plan?
Well, I click manage plan to get to the screen you're seeing now.
Oh, I see. It's
I click on, you click
1999
on
renew
manage plan under your name, manage plan, you'll
Yeah.
get to this screen.
Yeah, I got
You'll
that.
get to this screen. So now what I got to do is I'm going to try clicking on edit billing and payment.
No, don't do that. Because it's going to show your private stuff. Don't do that.
All right. Well, I mean, I could do it and not show it to you guys and tell you what it does.
Okay. But you're showing now.
Okay. So, all right. So this is exactly, I won't share this information, but what I'll share is if you,
Definitely was different for me. Where Terry saying at the left.
yeah, if you click on that, I'm gonna get rid of this. If you
Creative Cloud Photography.
If you click on that, let me get out of here. If you click on that button, it says edit billing and payment. It's going to come up and give you the option to pay yearly and pay $9.99 a month.
Okay.
So you're going to click on that edit billing and payment, and I will put that up on the screen because I think I shared something I shouldn't have shared. Didn't realize I was live, so I got out of it. But if you click on the edit profile, you click on edit billing and payment, it's going to come up with the option for you to keep the same plan that you have and pay for a year, and it'll tell you like, you're not paying again until December of 2025.
Okay. Interesting.
So
Heading to the dam tomorrow morning.
So that's what you want to do. And I'm going to get out of that, and I'm going to get out of my account right now and worry about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
so what about you, Chuck? Are you using Photoshop?
I am, yeah.
So you need to do this too, correct?
Yeah. I'm a cheap, so I'm gonna do it.
I'm looking at the people in the chat. They're saying, go to manage plan. The way I did it was click on manage plan under your plan on the website, not the app. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we will find our way, but let's use the advantage where we can of being grandfathered to the same price that we have been paying for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
Every dollar counts.
Yeah, I mean, some people might use. Some people use. Well, you could get the free Nikon software and use that too, but it's a whole different way of editing because it's what they call it, control point technology or something. Where you can adjust all your settings on a different part of your image, on a selected part of your image. And I used that when it came out 20 something years ago or more. I haven't used it in that long. But you would just have to change your whole way of doing things. And some people do. There's nothing wrong with other software, but you got that learning curve. You got to, learn all over again. And then I'm not sure, because I haven't done it, I'm not sure if you ever have problems then. Maybe Gustavo. I mean, if you're say you're using Lightroom and Photoshop, and now you've got obviously you have the extensions that are tied in with the software that you're using, and now you want to suck a file in that was from Lightroom, and you suck it in another app. Do you ever have a problem when you do that? Will it recognize it? Will it change how it looks? Will it is it seamless? I don't know. I've never done it, so I can't answer that question. So it's sometimes.
Wait, what is that other software that charges you for every action you do? Have you seen that?
So in Photoshop, if you use the AI software, correct? Like AI removal, not the regular removal tool, they give you a certain number of credits. Okay, but then you have like 500 credit. That's more than plenty for any of us. Correct. So it's for the AI usage. You have certain number of credit, which is 500, which is plenty. We can talk about that in another show because it's actually very powerful. But I rarely use it. It has things like it has things like remove power lines, and it goes and takes the power lines. So instead of you it quickly, going and deleting your power lines, if you want, or remove people, it goes and it remove all the people in your photos. Okay?
So it's doing some of the stuff that's in the phones already for like removing people.
Exactly.
I do it the old-fashioned way. I just yell at him, "Get out of the way!"
Get out of the picture.
Exactly.
Say, hey, bald guy, get out of my picture.
Get out of the way.
So J-Rod's heading to Conowinga Dam tomorrow morning. So hopefully you have some luck getting some nice eagle shots. But I'm sure it can be, well, I don't know about, because of being close to Christmas, you might luck out. But many people have to get there very, very early and fight for a spot, from what I hear. So hopefully you don't have to fight for a spot.
He's an expert on that, so he probably knows all the in and outs.
I think he just pushes the other guys into the dam. That's all. Get out of my way. There's a lot of tripods with cameras on them in that dam that no one's found yet. And let's see what else is in the... Yeah, if you're already paying annually, you're going to have whatever you're paying now. Correct, Gustavo? Whatever you're paying now annually, you're locked in, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you got the $9.99 a month plan, if you're $119 a year,
Exactly.
that's your $9.99 a month plan. So as long as
and then you get your email confirming that you did all the transactions. Indeed, as I told you, if in the case of you, I saw that your plan, your monthly next payment will be January 8th, correct? So
Right.
they will discount. They say you do it tomorrow. They
be a
will
little credit.
They will credit you the days.
Yeah.
And then next year it will be this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is true. You're paying, but you don't own it. But the thing is, I remember when, I had friends that had Photoshop long before I couldn't afford Photoshop when it came out because it was like $1,000.
Yes, indeed.
When it came out on disc and you were loading it was like $1,000 or more. Very few people I knew used Photoshop. They couldn't afford $1,000. They weren't making money with their cameras.
No.
And so when you go back to the old days and you looked at what you were paying for that software and then paying hundreds of dollars every time they made changes to it, all of a sudden $9.99 a month is very reasonable.
So here's the deal. 2 points. About 15, 20 years ago, when Photoshop was out and popular, here in Malaysia, well, you just go to the store and just buy the pirated copies for a quarter. All right. And you just use that. And then the guys are so clever that they'd always have, pirated stuff. No big deal. So it costs nothing. So then I talked to Adobe Singapore and Hong Kong because it came here. I said, what do you guys do about this situation? He says, you know what? We don't really mind the pirated stuff because if they had to pay $100 or $200, these poor kids, to them is like $1 million.
Yes,
correct? They would never be computer literate ever. So if they use pirated copies, we don't mind because then they get educated and they get used to our stuff. So when they get into the real world, in the corporate world where they use licensed items, they'll know how to use it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they said, the pirated stuff, we got no issues with it. Microsoft, the same way. Otherwise, people in the third world countries would be computer illiterate to this day.
But now I understand even in Malaysia and Indonesia with this new licensing system, people have to use the genuine item. There is no other option.
Well, not nowadays, you have to subscribe, but people as they are, they're very clever at getting around things. If they can't, if there's an object in front of them, they'll find 20 different ways to get around it. Because I have a lot of friends, they would never be able to afford
$10 a month.
$10 or $20 a month. There's no way.
Well, remember
Especially
what they
when
used to
there's
do
no
too
work.
is a lot of the computer manufacturers, when they were selling computers, and they'd have the discounts for kids that were going to school.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'd be able to get those expensive software packages for next to nothing because they were a student too.
But the issue is outside the United States, where the U.S. is so myopic at times that when you ask a kid to pay, say in Malaysian money, 100 ringgit for this per month, well, that's like asking an American $100 US a month.
Yeah.
Asking a 15-year-old to come up with that. And how many can do that?
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You see?
Yeah.
So I told, because I gave a couple classes in it years ago, and I told those guys, I said, get a clue, man. You're thinking in US dollars. Yeah, cheap. $19, no big deal. But when you convert it into other countries' money where they don't make as much, and they only make $500 a month, and you expect them to pay 100 of that in a software program, you got to be on glue.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
No, for sure. But and you're talking Malaysia, which is not it's a relatively or it's a almost top line of the emerging countries, correct? But think about Africa, correct? Kenya, Nigeria.
Oh yeah. What about them?
Those are real problems.
So they gotta find ways to steal it or find it.
Yeah. Locally, I think what Jeff was mentioned, they do a special concession for universities, correct?
Teachers and students or whatever.
Teacher and students.
Teacher and student discounts.
But even overseas, sometimes people can, students can get the license from the local university, correct? Even on my own company, as an employee, you could get your software from the license that the company has bought. Correct? So I think in some of the universities in Africa, the students can get it from the university who has a license. So they find a way, John, for the reason
they do find a way. But having said that, there's a lot of people who don't go to university or still in high school.
Exactly.
What do they do? Yeah. They don't have parents that make, $100,000 a year.
Yeah, it's an issue. Although I can tell you, the people that own these cameras, correct, in the developing world, typically are the more affluent. They are the one that has the capacity to pay somebody, correct? So you have somebody.
Ask Sanjay, he can tell you.
Exactly.
We go to this mall, and every shop there is pirated software. You name it, they got it. For what? $1, 25 cents.
Yeah.
You can get. We used to get CS3 for $1. I just talked to Diana just now about this new upgrade, and I said, "Yeah, we're all going over how to do it." And she starts laughing. She says, "Don't worry, I'll do it for you in 5 seconds."
Yeah, it won't take. It's not. It's literally, John. It's like a 3-minute thing.
It's
a 3-minute thing.
Now, where is that blue button? Where is that?
Yeah.
The important thing is that you and Diana are aware, so you can do it.
So you could do it. Yeah.
And let her do it.
Well, my wife's funny. You know, she works for an insurance company, and she has, you know, a laptop that's secure, that's issued by the company that she works for, and she'll have an IT problem. And as soon as she has an IT problem, guess whose voice gets called?
You.
It's like, honey, I need you to talk to the IT guy at blankety blank insurance
Why?
company to figure
That's his
out
job.
how to get my computer to work again. Or she'll say, do you know how this software package works? And I'll say, I haven't used that particular software package in 30 years. And you know what? I still somehow managed to figure out how to make it work, even though I haven't looked at it in 30 years. But it drives me nuts. So when she retires, I'm going to be so happy because I won't be the unpaid IT guy for her insurance company anymore.
Well, if you have to call the IT, that's the end of your day, correct? You're not the IT department. You have to stop working for the rest of the day.
Yeah, you know, so it's like I'm the IT department 75% of the time. What else do we got? I did a little, you know how I like to do my did you know type of thing. I haven't done that in a long time.
Okay.
So did you know Nikon with its firmware release for the Z9 in 2022 was the first full frame camera with pre-release capture. Now we obviously know that's JPEG.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was the first full frame camera with pre-release capture. Other brands such as Olympus, Panasonic, and Fuji had it prior to that, but they don't make full frame cameras. They're either APS-C or Micro Four Thirds, which are a lot easier to do that on because the files are so small. And actually, some of the old Nikon 1 cameras had a related but limited feature that was very similar to that many, many, many years ago. So that was
Try telling that to a Sony guy.
Yeah. And well, they don't want to hear nothing anyway.
Well, and Jeff, we still are the only camera system with the auto capture in full frame as well.
Yeah. Now I went back and looked at, I just get these brain farts and I ask myself a question and I try to find out about it. Right. So Canon was the first company that implemented built-in sensor cleaning technology back in the DSLR days to shake off the dust from the sensor when you turned the camera on and off. So that was actually technology that was developed by Canon back in the DSLR era. And of course, that's pretty much common on most of the mirrorless cameras now. Now we're going to go way back in time. The first widely recognized camera self-timer was made by Robert Ferries, who patented what they called the shutter tripper device. This was back in January 14th in 1902. And no, I wasn't around then. This device used a squeeze bulb, like for your pumping your blood pressure, right? Had a squeeze bulb with a rubber hose. It connected to a cylinder. The other end of the cylinder, you took another piece of hose, and that went to the shutter cylinder on the old bellows cameras. Okay, that you could either push the shutter mechanically with your finger, or you used a squeeze bulb on those that used the air to actuate the shutter for you. So this device went between the squeeze bulb and the hose going to the camera, and you would move a mechanical plunger, and it would be like it would leak out a measured amount of air over a certain time period, and then it would trip a valve, and the rest of the air would flow through it quickly, and that would trip your shutter. So that's how you got your delay. I gave you enough time to, squeeze the bulb, move that, move the little lever on this cylinder, run and get in the picture. Air's leaking through it a little bit at a time, and all of a sudden it's like, and your shutter goes off. So it gave you enough time to get in the picture back in the early 1900s.
I still have one of those pneumatic ones that were like 10 meters long.
Yeah.
Check this out. Nico Matt,
Yes.
only 1K.
You need to
Hey, John, don't
mirror.
copy me.
Wait, you got Nick.
Don't
You got
copy me,
NLK,
John.
But he's with 1K. You need to John.
This
you
is
need
1K.
You need to mirror your camera.
1K. Jeff's got 2Ks, right? This was Japan only. This is my new camera I bought.
Yeah, I got the 2Ks. I got the USA version.
So this is a Japan market.
You got the Japanese model of it, and I got the American
mirror
model.
your camera, John. Mirror your camera.
God, I tell you, right, Jeff? I mean, there's nothing like the feel of these babies, huh?
I'll tell you, a mechanical camera. What's nice about that is, like this, these particular cameras had a metering system in them, but the battery was only for the metering system. So if your battery died, it wasn't the end of the world. If you wanted to use the Sunny 16 rule, or you had a handheld light meter, you could use any shutter speed you wanted on that camera, and it would work because it was not an electronic shutter; it was mechanical. Everything was mechanical.
John,
how many things of film have you been using these?
Don't ask that, Chuck. Don't ask that, Chuck.
Yeah.
We just like to click it.
No, I've got 1, 2. I got 3 rolls to send out.
Good one, Chuck.
To send out.
To send out.
Wow, John, you have to mirror your camera, your computer camera. Go to the little wheel.
Go to the wheel and then click on mirror, because everything is flipped on you.
Yeah.
What wheel?
The wheel on your the gear that's on your screen for Restream.
Oh, okay.
You got the gear. You want to click on that, and then you want to.
It says mirror is on. Okay, what about now?
Then you want to go to video. Click on video, and then at the bottom you have.
No, he did it. He did it.
He did it. Okay, you're good.
Show your camera again, just to confirm. Exactly.
Yeah,
okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
So, are you sure this is not a Chinese knockout? Japanese knockout.
That's a Malaysian knockoff camera. And then the last did you know I have is the first TTL light metering 35 millimeter camera was the Topcon RE Super. It had a CDS cell behind the reflex meter, and during its time, it came out in 1963. It was a big time competitor to the Nikon F, and Nikon did not have that feature until the F3 came out in 1980. Topcon had that feature in 1963.
Topcon's still around.
Topcons, yes, I have one waiting for me to open up on Christmas Day.
No, I mean not the camera, but the
company. They don't make cameras anymore, though.
No, they do something with optometrists and whatnot.
Yeah, they still make some lenses, but not for. They make lenses, I think, for some field cameras.
American.
And the U.S.
cameras.
The U.S. Navy used Topcon back in the 60s.
They want. Well, that's where the competition began. The Navy decided. The Navy chose the Topcon RE Super over the Nikon F.
Really? Because of its robustness, or what?
They chose them over the Nikon. They thought it was a more reliable and more robust camera, and they liked the metering system better.
Wow.
So they actually chose that over the Nikon F. Now, the funny thing is, I think the Nikon F got awarded an Army contract or something. I don't know if it was a U.S. Army or not, but the Navy and the Air Force chose the RE Super over the Nikon F back in the 60s. And they stuck with them.
Several years ago.
They stuck with them until they didn't make it anymore.
Several years
in
ago,
the early 70s.
Oh, really? Several years ago, I had to go on board one of these, the USS. I can't remember what it was, and then I was on the USS Abraham Lincoln. Right, it came into town, so I had to cover it. And so they always have a what do you call it, PAO officer? The media guy, who does all the media, and they to take pictures of dignitaries and who's ever on board, right? And they always use Nikon those days F5 and stuff like that.
Yeah, but for
the public affairs officer.
yeah,
That's right.
But for military use, they were using the Topcons for over for quite a while.
What do you think they use now?
Topcon's gone. I don't know what they're using now. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're not using an SLR anymore. They're using mirrorless cameras, I'm sure.
So, Chuck, did you know?
No, I don't even. No.
But during your time, they were using Nikon, correct? When you were still active duty.
No, they Canon and Nikon, both of them.
Our friend Paul Connors was a photographer, correct? I think he was in the Army, correct?
Say, Chuck, when you were in the service, right? You had access to the PX, correct?
Yeah.
Or the BX. So you get. They have a catalog, and you can get prices for cameras a lot less, right?
Not a lot, but you got some difference. Yeah.
Discount. Because I remember during the Vietnam War, my buddies were getting, out of the Nikon Fs and FTNs were really good prices out of the Armed Forces catalog.
Yeah, back then, yes.
Back then during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
My friend Bob and I went to one of the battleships in North Carolina, I believe it was, and we went on board that and walked around, and they actually had the I'm not going to word it properly, or I'll just explain what I saw. I mean, think of it as a tourist, you go, oh, that's like the gift shop, okay? And they had the film,
yeah,
and they had camera bodies, they had all the vintage stuff reenacted, on that ship of what the soldiers could buy for cameras, and they had that stuff all in a case, like in the room that they would, oh, I want one of those and I want one of these.
Wow.
And that was really cool to see. Some of the cameras that were out at that time during the war and what they had to choose from and that kind of thing. It was really neat. Really neat.
All right, guys, I gotta go.
Time for lunch or breakfast?
Yep.
Lunchtime for you.
Lunch because it's almost 11.
Have a good one.
Yeah. Oh, I just want to let you know, I see Wayne quite often, once in a while.
How's he doing?
But he finally got his retirement visa from Malaysia, so they're very happy. It's settling in, and he's really trying to talk me into getting the EV, because he's really into EVs now. So he came with me. We test drove an EV that kind of parked itself, and I couldn't believe how fast that car was. This thing was. I have never felt such acceleration in my life. Right?
Electric motors can be pretty powerful.
Oh man, it was
great torque.
So he's doing fine.
Tell hello to him when you see him, and and tell him not to be a stranger.
Yeah, tell him to swing in once in a while and say hi. We haven't seen him in many months.
Well, he's still he's been making some videos on EV cars, so take a look.
But, we're used to having some.
All right,
we're
you guys,
used to having interesting discussion with him about video features and cameras. That was always the big thing. Take care,
guys. Take care, huh? Chuck.
Bye, John.
Have a good one.
Where's Ray? Where's Roy?
I don't know. I mean, he was on last week, the week before. Well, I think sometimes his wife requires nursing care, and sometimes the nurse doesn't show up.
And the holidays.
And then he has to, do all the work and take care of her, and then he can't come on. So it's tough for him. I'm assuming that's probably what it is.
No Roy, no Randall, no David today.
Yeah, no Randall, no David. See, Chuck. Everybody's like leaving me to get ready to go on your show in January.
Chuck, Joe, he some veneer.
How soon they leave the ranks, I'll tell you. Everybody's leaving. Yeah. But I'll do a. Let's see. Do you want to do it's 10:16. Maybe what I'll do is, since we got 26 people in here, I'll put my Santa hat on and I'll do my poem.
Okay.
I'll do my poem. These things are dangerous. You got to watch out for these.
You can dust off your camera when you're using one of those.
Yeah, I clean my lenses with this. So let me get my poem in front of me here, because I don't have it memorized. I'm not that good.
And Chuck and I can be small, since we.
You guys want to be small? You want me to make it small?
Yeah.
All right. I'll make it small. Oh, we got Luis popping on. You're just in time, Luis, for me to shrink you guys down, as I'm going to do my Christmas poem for 2024. Every year for a while now, I've done some silly thing, either sang a song or did a poem, or as Roy would say, a limerick. But technically, it's not a limerick, because a limerick is something that's very, very short, and nothing I do is very, very short. But anyway, I'll share this. Usually, I do something themed off of something that already exists, and I change the words as needed, what have you. This time I had, for some reason, I think it was because it was on TV, they had Frosty the Snowman coming on TV or whatever, and I had the theme from Frosty the Snowman in my head. So I says, well, I'll write a poem that part of it you could kind of hear how it would fit right in with Frosty the Snowman lyrics, but then I digressed and just changed it to things that rhyme. So I will do this poem quickly. It won't take that long, and hopefully you'll get a kick out of it. And I have to make sure I don't start laughing and screw it all up. Okay, so here we go. Jeffrey the Photog was a jolly, happy soul with a Z9 and a Z8 too, and 2 SD cards for all. Jeffrey the Photog is a fairy tale, they say. He's only seen on Saturdays on a live stream, so they say. He had some tales to tell us all on how he came to be. With a camera in his hands at 8, he's a photog, can't you see? There must have been some magic in that old film, Pony 4, a camera that his mom had used so many years before. And when they placed it in his hand, he came to life, you see. Been shooting photos ever since, past the age of 63. His goal right now is to spread the word on photography and how we shoot what suits us each the best to share our genre now. Some shoot Nikon, Sony, Canon, and Fujifilm as well. But don't forget the others too, because Olympus does pretty well. We also have high-end, like Hassie and Leica too. and also Panasonic, and a Pentax half frame for you. Can we complain? Of course we can. It's just what humans do. But time to stop and just get out and shoot. That's what I do. We're spoiled, with what we have. No reason to complain. So many cameras now, are very much the same. Let's make some prints and ebooks too for family and friends. These memories we capture mean so much to us and them. As the holiday approaches, best to give than to receive. Give a camera to your young grandchild and just you wait and see. They will capture you as you grow old, but they won't really care because they'll have you in their life via images they can share. I end this poem on a final note, just wishing you the best. I'll see you one more time this year on the 28th, I guess. I'll only show up once a month in 2025. The other weeks we will have Chuck, so be there by his side. I wish everyone on the panel and in the chat a Merry Christmas and the best for 2025. I hope everybody satisfies their gear acquisition syndrome for a while at least. Take care. We'll see you before the new year, obviously. Try to relax, enjoy the holiday. We'll see you soon. A reminder that the first photo review for 2025 is on January 4th, followed by Chuck Talks starting on January 11th. And Chuck plans to have a Christmas Eve show. So if you're around, support that as well. So hopefully you're still awake.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very well done.
But anyway,
Yes.
my wife tries to.
You're a man of many talents.
Well, my wife tells me that, and I says, "Yeah, but I don't get paid for anything." Luis, did you have pictures for us?
Yes, but yeah, I have. But just
There's
give
a
me
yes
couple
with a
of
but
minutes.
afterwards. That's not good. Yes, but doesn't sound too good.
No, it's fine. I have them, but they are not in the in a good order.
No, we don't have to show them right this second. I'm just
Exactly.
You
We'll
can still
show
put it in order.
we'll show them when you're ready, end of the show
Yes.
or next week or whatever.
No. I have plenty of pictures here. I'm quickly going through them and just putting more in a kind of logical order, and then I'll let you know when I'm ready. Just
All right,
just 2 minutes.
when you're ready, that's good. And in the meantime, we will talk about other things.
And I have my the other presentation ready. If you don't have anything, Jeff. Let me see.
I just want to say we got a David Stewart in the chat sighting here. He can't come on tonight, he says, but good to see you, David. Hello to you, and have a Merry Christmas if we don't see you or talk to you before then. And yes, and I agree. David is commenting on Robert's what he shared last week on putting the metal lens mount on replacing the plastic lens mount on the Nikon Z 40 millimeter lens, and I believe it was the 28 millimeter lens, and putting a metal mount on it. So David appreciated that very much, and it's nice of him to to compliment Robert on his efforts, which he did a great job. Very nice presentation. Gustavo's got another presentation. I think then I'm gonna do a little presentation on the Nikon FT2 Nicker Mat,
Okay.
FT2, and then we'll finish up with some rumors, and then we'll answer questions in between if we see anything in the chat. And we say put the QQQ if you have a question. Put the QQQ in the front. I always forget to remind everybody of that. And I'm also going to put. Give me a second here. I also want to. I got to kick myself in the butt sometimes here for not doing this. I want to get the link to the show in the chat here so that if there is someone out there that wants to come on, you have that opportunity to do so. So I just dump that into the chat right now. Um, and Gustavo, you're good.
I'm good.
Okay, so here we go with Gustavo's next project here.
All
And I'll
right.
maximize this.
You tell me when you see it.
And I have it up on the screen now. I can't see you guys. I'm assuming people could see it.
Yes.
Okay. So, so what we're going to talk here a little bit is about the new version of Photoshop 2025. I have been working on this short presentation for quite a while, so I have some in the pipeline. And typically, we don't talk too much about processing, but I think there were some features on this new release of Photoshop 2025, which was done in October, that I think worthwhile. Correct. So in particular, this should be in Lightroom as well, but I use Adobe Camera Raw, and it's a new profile. And interesting enough, remember all these presets and profiles, schedules, and all that kind of stuff. There's a
Yeah.
new profile, and this new profile from Adobe, which is in beta test, in my opinion, is great because it saves you a lot of time on developing your own raw files. Correct? Correct? So the new profile is called Adobe Adapted Beta. Okay, uh, only at that time when it was released was only in Adobe Camera Raw. Any version 17 plus will have it. Correct. And Jeff, you can check later on whether that's in Lightroom. I didn't check in Lightroom. It was introduced in 2025 last October. The profile, actually, what it does, and we're going to go through that, is adjust the highlights, the midtones, and the shadows. Correct, that setting, and add some color and contrast. Okay, so you can see here the original raw file as it came from the camera, and below is the process. So as soon as you put that profile, you go from the original raw into that one, and therefore it provides a great starting point for any additional processing you want to do. Correct. I have used this in October. I use it in all my Japan trip photos. It certainly cut my raw processing time. It basically increased your efficiency. Correct. I had to do a lot less after having that Adobe Adaptive Beta. Okay. All right. So here is on the same photo show you exactly where you can find that, and this is an Adobe Camera Raw. I presume it will be similar in Lightroom. Your profiles or your preset, your Skittles, if you use that, will be under this profile here where the arrow is. Okay. And what I want you to watch is what happened to the histogram. Correct. The histogram here have all the highlights on this end, the midtones in the middle, and then the shadows on the other side. Correct. And remember, this is just as it opened, so it was with the color temperature as shot. Okay, and nothing changed. Right. So you just by putting that Adobe adaptive beta, it goes to this. Correct. So you can see in the histogram that basically it stretches a lot of the midtones, it protects some of the shadows, and it protects some of the highlights. Correct. So it goes from this, correct, which is a little bit duller photo, to this one, and that, as I said, is a great new base to start your processing. All right.
Yeah, it's like what I created my own profile years ago.
Yes.
That I basically apply automatically to every photo that I suck in, and like you said, it just what you're talking about. You get a profile that you like.
Exactly.
It could do 90% of the work for you right up front.
Exactly. Remember the default when you open the raw file, it's Adobe Color, correct?
Yeah.
And you can see there and where the arrow is, and it goes into the Adobe. In my case, I changed that line to Adobe Adaptive Beta. So just experiment. I like it. I have used it now for several months, and it has become part of my workflow. Correct. So that doesn't mean that you end here. Correct.
Yep.
After that, you have
I'll be right back, Gustavo. I gotta let the dog out. You keep going.
That's all right. After that, you have this new base, okay? And then you can continue your doing your editing, correct? So you have um, you can see here I do some additional editings, right? So I adjusted the exposure, uh, protected some of the modify some of the shadows in this particular case, add a little bit of vibrance, correct? So these will be now the fully edited. But in the past, I had to do more changes in order to get the image as I wanted, correct? So with this Adobe Adaptive Beta, um, it basically simplified my workshop significantly, correct? So from there, obviously, then as you know, you go to Photoshop and you have to do something. Typically, if the image is good enough, you don't have to do too much. By the way, the photo was not cropped as it is, so because I took it for this demonstration, correct? And you can see this is now the photo as after it opened in Photoshop, correct? In this particular case, the only thing that I added to that photo was some of the legend that I put in the photos that I keep with all the settings, right? Center around the 50% of that. So that's why there is no additional edits, just a text layer, right? And then from that, then you get your photo. So I thought I'd share this with you because I think it's a great way to process your raw photos, okay, and get out of the raw files uh, a, a, a a good amount of the best that it can be with relatively few clicks. Okay. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to share. So I have some more questions here. I cannot see you guys, but you tell me, Jeff, if you're back, or Luis, if you are there.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
You
We
tell
can
me
see.
if there is any questions in the chat, or any of you guys have a question.
How does well? I don't use Lightroom or Adobe for that matters, but I suppose you can create all kinds of presets, just like the ones that we see always being kind of sold on internet.
Oh yes, and
Oh, yeah.
and I have some of those presets. I got some of the preset from uh, Jan Wagner. I
Hmm.
bought many years, but I
Oh yeah,
typically
yeah.
don't use. I typically don't use that much this, but this one that comes from Adobe
Hmm.
is very powerful. It analyzes your histogram, and because it brings, as you can see, it brings everything to a new base. Right?
Yeah, sure.
You get everything back into zero. And I don't know, Jeff, you are in Lightroom. You probably have the same controls here, correct? So that
Yeah,
having a new
yeah.
base that utilizes
You have the same exact controls with Lightroom as you do in Adobe Camera Raw.
Hmm.
You know, now there may be a few differences because sometimes they've done some things in Lightroom that there's things in Photoshop that aren't in Lightroom. There's a few things in Lightroom that might not be in Photoshop, but you know, but for the most part, they're the same. And like you said, it's just like you get uh, the guy you mentioned before, Matt.
Jan Wagner.
Matt, well, you got Matt Kozlowski there sells a lot of presets as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then there's people that specialize in black and white photography. They have their own presets, but
Exactly.
it's not hard to make your own preset, but it is time consuming. But you could make your own presets and name them whatever you want and have them in your computer and use them whenever and however you like. But
Yeah. But
it is
when you
convenient
use,
to
when you
have
use
something.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is the basically the official preset free.
Yeah,
Right?
free.
With Adobe. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see.
No, it did a good job. I mean, it got you 90% there, and then you just do a few minor tweaks, and you're done.
Exactly.
Because what's the matter, doggy? What's the matter? Why are you running away? To me, if I got to spend more than a minute a picture,
Exactly.
then for the most of the time, it isn't worth you saving it or keeping it. If I got to spend more than a minute.
Exactly.
Like,
And this is what I wanted to report on this because for me, it really caught on the time of doing this. Right. So far, it has worked fantastic.
no, looks good.
Very good.
Looks good.
All right. So that's what I have for you guys this week.
As they say, oh dear.
There he is.
Now here's Joey back from a steak dinner, I presume.
Hi, Joey. Hi there.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
By the way, with a new handle, Joe Digital.
Joe Digital? Whoa.
Yes, I decided I have a website called joedigital.ca and my YouTube channel is just randomly Joe Man's that. And I was like, well, I don't want to lose my website name, so I'll just make mine up.
Very good.
We were commenting that we haven't seen you in a long time, and we were blaming it on food consumption.
Yeah, no, it's it's been honestly work's been super busy for me the last month or so. We've had a lot of community initiatives that I've been leading for the company, which has been great. We just did this big thing called Season of Giving. We shopped for about $13,000 worth of warm clothes for our different Indigenous partners on different reservations across the province, and got those all distributed and everything. Did a big video production on that, and it's been really good. It's my own YouTube channel's kind of fallen by the wayside, unfortunately, the last few months, but I've still been creating for sure. It's just been more work focused than myself. But how have you guys been?
Hey, we're doing good. You missed my, I'm warming up for the next, I'm getting warmed up with the outfit here,
I love the hat.
Yeah.
Your screen's backwards.
You need to
Green
mirror.
backwards.
Yeah, I think so as well. Yeah.
Change
So
your.
now.
Thank you.
Right.
There you go.
There we go. Let me see if I can up-res this a little here. All right. I think that's as good as it's going to get. This webcam has seen better days.
I still want a drum demo one of these days, man. You got to do it.
One of these days, I gotta get the mics out of storage and get it all set up properly. All my stuff's in our storage unit right now. But y'all haven't got any fun plans for Christmas?
Just staying home for me. Staying home.
I have to work almost all days next week, but that's all right. It's okay.
And now I'm going this Christmas Eve or parsley.
Okay, Christmas Eve.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just spending it with the family and yeah, same as you, Luis. Going to be working straight through, but I'll be working from home, so I won't have to go in the office. Boss man was like, "I think you're going to be sick next Monday, Tuesday," and I was like, "Yeah, I probably shouldn't be around people. I agree. This is the way it should be."
Yeah. Some people have to work. That's all. That's it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. I'm no longer shooting with my Panasonic. I am. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been shooting as much. So yeah, I am looking elsewhere. I don't know what I'm gonna get. For now, I'm just gonna be shooting everything with my little ZV-1. I feel like it's gonna push me to be a better photographer because I don't know. I think the tools are so good now that sometimes I don't know. I feel like I took it for granted. I was like, oh man,
you shouldn't feel embarrassed to embrace technology though either.
No, and it's not that at all, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just more. I had so much gear, like in terms of lenses and my body. I was like, oh, I kind of want to just scale back a little bit for 2025. Less is more, and yeah, just kind of focus on capturing moments and composition as opposed to my old mentality, which was I'm going to bring every single piece of gear I have with me everywhere I go. So yeah, I hope it motivates me to start.
That's difficult not to do.
I know, but with this, there's nothing else I can bring. What you see is what you get. It's so tiny. Yeah. So I hope, hopefully it pans out. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I bought my, that wasn't really a Christmas gift. I did it for part of the poem that I just did where I talked about getting a camera for your grandchild and that part of it. I did that. My younger son's oldest, okay, I think he's 14 and he's taking a photography course at school. And he really likes it. And And I said, I mean, neither of my children got into photography at all. And I said, I want to do something special for this kid, because he's the oldest, the younger ones get all the attention, you know how that goes, the older ones kind of left to be, oh, you're okay, you can take care of yourself. We don't have to bother you. Just go do what you want to do, type of thing. And I said, I want this kid to do something more than just play video games and stuff like that, So I bought a Panasonic Lumix bridge camera, a digital SLR for him, I mean, they don't make it anymore, but it was like I think it was like 20 millimeter to 1200 millimeter equivalent, 35 millimeter equivalent zoom. And so I bought him that, and bought him cleaning kit and put in the SD card and all that stuff, and sent him all the manuals, PDF files for the manuals and everything, hoping that because he says he really likes the photography course, he likes the teacher a lot, and I says, well, I'm going to give you a reason to keep on going, continue to take pictures after you're done with that course. So it was something that I just wanted to do for him, because there's a lot of kids out there, and they can't afford a camera, they can't afford to buy it. I know that with my son's somewhat large family, I know that he doesn't really have the means to buy something like that for him right now. And I says, I'm going to do something for this kid and hopefully get him interested in photography and have a future photographer out there, after I'm long gone, and I think, like someday, if for whatever reason, if I got to get rid of some of my collection or whatever, I'm definitely going to donate some of the cameras that I have to a school or whatever, so that people could have something to use, because I wish that more, Sony does it, Nikon's done it in some cases, when Nikon had what they were considering their vlogging camera, they did put that in the hands of some YouTubers and content creators to try to stir up interest in marketing, and market it and get people to want to buy it and stuff like that. But I think that it's important to try to pass things down to the other generation and try to promote things and try to get people interested in the hobby, because I mean, I have a thing for photographic history and camera history, and I just want to see it keep on going and not die off with us old folks when we're not around anymore. I want to see young people getting involved and doing it. So that's my initial contribution to keeping it going.
You know what they say, Jeff? That some genetic trait skip a generation. So maybe he's a nice photographer.
Well, and it's such a great way to connect people, like I think people get so sort of caught up on this, like, oh man, well, if I'm not being paid for it, I'm not being a professional, then what's the point? And it's too daunting. It's like, no, like, just pick it up and have fun with it. Like, even if you're just going for beers with your buddies doing street photography, like that's great. And like for me, that gave me so much value when I was living in Korea. It was like before we just go out and have beers and just sit around doing nothing. I was like, wait, why don't we just go for a walk with our beers, because there's no drinking laws there. You can take your beer anywhere and snap some photos. And it was a really great community builder, and that's beautiful. You did that, Jeff. And I think, more people need to do that, and try to find opportunities to connect different folks to this medium, because it's a beautiful way to show the world and, kind of have something creative that you can do everywhere, right? You could just be walking to work and you can stop, with your cell phone, and you can stop and snap a photo, like so it's more accessible now than ever, yet people seem more afraid to do it now than ever. So
it gives you a reason to get out and get some fresh air too. I mean, how many people never leave their house? They don't even get outside. I mean, give yourself a reason to go out and walk for a couple miles and capture something that you see while you're taking your walk, and just get out there and enjoy some fresh air and and when you have a camera, you start looking at things different. Of course, you're trying to be more observant than you are, when you don't have one, and you get surprised by the things that you see that then become things that you can share with other people, and I think it's where would we be without, forget video, I mean, for a second, but where would you be without what many of us with print media, okay, and magazines and things that you see, and all these in the few publications that are left. But I mean, I'm just saying, the pictures tell stories, and I think it's important to keep it going. And I wish there were more programs in the earlier, like in the middle school ages, for kids to get involved with a photo course of some kind, photo/video course of some kind, because I think it's important to keep things moving along.
100%. No, I agree.
All right, hey, I got to get out of here. You guys, let's see. I'm going to be on in the podcast Christmas Eve. That's what it is.
Yes.
And I'm going to get a thumbnail mail and me. Yeah. You listen to you so God.
Well, check your thumbnail out. We'll see what time you're going to be on. What time you're going to start?
I'm thinking about 7 or 8. I don't know, but something like that. And then we're gonna take it from there.
All right.
Sure.
Sounds good. You got to put some Christmas lights on the cat, though.
All right.
100%.
Take it easy.
See you Tuesday.
See you Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we'd have to call it Santa Claus. Santa Claus. So I'm glad you're doing good, Joe. We were worrying about you a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't mean to drop off the face of the earth there. Sorry. It's been crazy, but yeah, it's been good though.
When I saw the Joe Digital coming in, I said, "This may be Joy." So since I typically are the one that welcome people coming in, let me say hello to or hi to Joe Digital. But I thought that it was you.
Yeah, I got. I was joking earlier. Everybody's leaving me. They don't want to hang with me anymore. They're getting ramped up to go on Chuck's show on the January 11th.
No, I loved your show. No, it definitely wasn't that. No, it was just little being a little crazy lately.
Life gets in. Well, hey, what you were doing was a very worthwhile cause. So much more important than coming on this show, believe me.
No, it was good. Well, no, and for me, it's not either or. I think that's something that at the end of this year, it's been a little bit tough. Is the work-life balance piece. I think sometimes, obviously you've got busy times, and you can't do as many things as you want to do. There's always so many hours in a day, but at the same time, I think, I want to get back to carving out a little bit of me time, a little bit more time to, get back to my camera and maybe not create stuff for the YouTube channel, just, take some photos for myself. It doesn't have to always be a angle of, I got to get this video. I was like, let's take some photos. You don't have to always have sort of an end place for it. You can just take photos for yourself.
Thank you, Patrick. Same to you and everybody in the chat. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope your gear acquisition syndrome gets fulfilled slightly for Christmas. I know that with my wife, we're at that age now, that you don't wait you don't like sit there and say, I'm not going to get this until Christmas. If you see something you can afford it and it's not stupid, then we each get what we want or what we like, as long as it doesn't kill the budget, and when it comes to Christmas, my wife says, I'm not even going to try with you anymore. You
Buy
figure,
yourself something.
you figure out what you want. You get what you want. I'll wrap it and I'll put it under the tree. And, so I already know probably 90% of what I'm getting because I picked it out,
Yeah.
So Jeff, we have your Nico mat, and we have,
Micromat. Yeah.
we have Luis. But let me
Yes.
ask you one thing that I have been curious. How's the other project going?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, good question.
The Otter, I went there. I think the last time we talked about the Otter, I was going to put my 70 to 200 on my Z8 and leave my 800 PF on my Z9, which is what I did. And I have not used the 70 to 200 lens in a long, long time. And for the area where it was before, that lens would have worked out very, very well. Unfortunately, the Otter did not show up. But the Otter was there because when we walked to the other end of the pond, there was like a wooden, you're not allowed to walk on it. It's just for staff, but it's a wooden platform that goes out over the pipe that runs under the road between the marsh side and the pond, with the flapper valve, to adjust water levels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all that wood was covered with otter poop.
Oh, right.
Bob and I did a scientific study to verify what kind of poop it was, and it was otter poop. So the otter was at the other end, and we had our bird counter that's there every day counting birds tell us that he saw it at the other end of the pond. So it was not where we were. And then when we went up to the other end of the pond, we did not see it. But the 70 to 200, some people say, the F mount lens on the FTZ doesn't work that good. And I'm going to tell you right now, horse pucky. It works extremely well. The lens autofocus was dead nuts perfect. It handled well. I hadn't used that lens in a long time. I really enjoyed it, and it allowed me to get some better group shots of the amount of birds that were in there without putting on like a wide angle lens per se. And I enjoyed it. It was nice using it, and I will bring it with me again. I'll bring 2 cameras set up again and put it on anytime. I mean, it was really, and it was a big help because I was able to get some decent shots much, much sooner than I could have with that 800 PF because it's an f2.8 lens. Okay, so I got a couple stops there, so I could shoot when it's near darkness, and I could get a good shot without having my ISO at ISO 15,000. I could be shooting at ISO 8,000 or ISO 6,000, which is much more manageable. And that is kind of a big deal, and it really helped me out, and I will use it more often now that I got it out of the case and used it again. I will do that more often. So,
but provided the others stay around, then you and Bob have some more chance to get some.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see it again, but we've been with the holidays and everything, and then we had some rainy days. We had some pretty cold days. So we're,
well,
I just say we're not as active in the wintertime as we used to be.
Yeah. And then sure the holidays also bring more people to the park, which is not conducive for.
Yeah. And but there were, we had one day where we had 5 eagles there, 3 juvies, 2 adults. We had ospreys. It's funny, the young ospreys versus the adult ospreys. I mean, even if they look the same, their coloration is the same as the adult. The size is about the same as the adult. When they go to get fish, it's very easy to tell who is the young, inexperienced fisherman versus the adult osprey, because the young ones, they miss so much. They don't have their claws out in front of them. They kind of have them behind. They don't have them out when they're hitting the water. They don't get the fish. I mean, I'm surprised half of them don't starve to death, because some of them did not pay attention to their parents when they were growing up on survival technique and what they got to do to make sure they get food. I'll tell you that.
Learning curve.
Yeah, some of them are really good. That's the one that stuck with mom. That's the one that learned. Then the other one, you go, that was the one that was trying to hit on the girlfriend from the other nest and didn't pay any attention. You could tell. But anyway, I'm going to do a quick share here of an old camera. Speaking with Joe, he says, I want something to kind of slow down, get back to composition, go back to my roots, what have you. And John Ishii had Mr. Wu. If you haven't watched any of the Mr. Wu episodes with John Ishii, you're missing a treat. The guy, I love the guy because he likes to talk about the same stuff I like to talk about. And I've done, a Thanks for the Memory series on my YouTube channel where I've talked about vintage cameras that I own. And not too long ago, I picked up, I'm going to make my screen a little bigger here. So not too long ago, I picked up this Nicker mat.
Okay.
Black body Nicker mat, SLR. Okay, it's an FT2. There were a number of models, which I will talk about in a little bit. And I'll just show you what it looks like quick, and we'll go over more detail of what's on the camera. It's using the AI lens, okay, with what we call the rabbit ears over here for setting up making sure your metering system is accurate with the lens that you put on. And that's the same setup you had on the original Nikon F. Okay, you had to couple each lens individually properly to the camera body to make sure that the metering understood what your lens was wide open. Okay, because it didn't have the linkage and everything in it like you have on modern DSLRs or modern SLRs that would automatically index and know what lens you put on the body. Okay,
this is a mechanical coupling.
This is a mechanical coupling. Okay, they weren't smart cameras. They didn't know what you were putting on them, and you had to provide some assistance to make sure everything was right. So that's the front. That's the front view. This is the top view, and you can see it's very, very simple. Okay. And nothing much to show on the back, obvious, and nothing much to show on the bottom either. But we'll go over the camera in a second. But in 1959, we all know the Nikon F came out in 1959. Now, 6 years after that, they introduced the Nikkormat FT. That was the first Nikkormat, was the FT. And it quickly became known as what they call the poor man's F model. It was followed by the FTN, and then the FT2, which I have here, and finally the FT3. So I have the FT2. This was made between the years 1975 and 1977. The body alone weighs 1.7 pounds. So it's not a very big camera, average size for that era. 1.7 pounds. It's got some bulk to it. Now, these cameras became really as popular as the Nikon F cameras. And in that era is when the F2 was out. And that's because the build quality was so good. These cameras were built like a tank. These cameras, I mean, obviously, here we're talking about a camera that's over 50 years old right now. Okay. But the Nikon Fs were not affordable for most people. I mean, professionals bought them, obviously, but you could buy this camera in the 70s for between $200 and $250. If you were at the $250 end, it probably had a lens on it, okay, for that price point. Whereas a Nikon F with a 50 millimeter f1.4 in 1972 sold for $660. So you're talking $660 versus $250. Okay, so this was obviously for, you know, an amateur photographer, but it was professionally built. I mean, it's a fully mechanical camera. You have a metering system in it. The battery is only for the metering system. If the battery dies, you could use a handheld meter. You can do the Sunny 16 rule. You can do whatever you want. Just take a guess, pull it out of your, you know what, guess what your settings are. And you can set any shutter speed you want mechanically. Okay, that's what's nice about a mechanical camera. It's a die-cast aluminum body, as solid as the F series were. And a lot of the cost savings was because your pentaprism on the top was fixed.
Yeah.
On the F series, you had different style pentaprisms. You had one that eventually had the photo mic, which had the exposure system was in the pentaprism. Okay, it was not through the lens metering. It was it was in the pentaprism, and you could change the focusing screen. So this had a fixed pentaprism with one style focusing screen, and that reduced the cost a lot too. Okay.
And that's a split prism, correct?
Yes. Now this had this back is hinged. Okay. Whereas the F mount body, like this is hinged, it swings open, back swings open. The F mount, you could remove the back because depending on the motor drive you put on it, you had to take the back off. And the film advance lever on the top here was more comfortable because it had the plastic on the end of it. It wasn't just all metal. So it made it more ergonomically, comfortable to use. And you could buy this camera at the time. It could be a chrome body or a black body. The black bodies are always more expensive. As a collector, if you want to get the camera that's worth more money, you try to find a black body, unless you just have a preference for the chrome. I mean, I have a mixed bag of everything. So let's see what else we got. You had a metal multiple blade Copal square S focal plane shutter. It had a metal shutter, and I'll open up the back. You did not lift up the rewind knob to pop the back open. You had this little tang on the bottom, like on the older cameras, that you had to pull down. So pull that down, and then open up the back, and there's your insides.
It's a really clean body.
Yeah.
So so you had 1 second to 1/1000th of a second, and you had bulb mode, and the layout is very unconventional for a Nikon. And I say that because you notice on the top, the only thing you have on the top is you have your film advance lever, you have your shutter button, you have a push button here for your depth of field preview. The depth of field preview is not on the front of the camera body like you had, like say on a Minolta. You'd have the push button, near the bottom of the lens that you'd push in for depth of field. This is your depth of field button.
Okay.
This is your let me get it. This is your film counter. You can see here your film counter.
Okay.
And you had a hot shoe, and you had no shutter speed dial on the top.
Yes.
So you go, where the blankety blanks the shutter speed? Well, it was like an OM1. Okay. When you look at the side view, it's hard for me to do this while I'm you have a lever. You have a lever here that moves up and down. that is against the body, and that's your shutter speeds.
Wow.
So on this side of the camera, you can see all the shutter speed numbers.
Yep.
Okay. And see that little dot up here, that little white dot.
Mm-hmm.
That line, that you line up your shutter speed with that dot. Okay, as you adjust your shutter speed. Okay, whatever's in front of that dot is what your shutter speed is. So you're adjusting that from the body of the camera versus the top of the camera.
So that part is in front of your mount, correct?
It's in front of the mount, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then on the side here, you do have a mirror lockup right here. Push that down, you lock up the mirror, and then that's just your lens release button right here. And then you have your self timer over here.
Okay.
And then on the bottom, you don't have much because you just have your battery for your metering system, your tripod socket, and then the button that you push for being able to rewind your film. And the flash sync, I think the one feature that's a real pain in the neck is, I'm going to get close on it. You see this little metal piece right here and the numbers. See how it says ASA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, when you want to change your ASA, you got to have either a long fingernail or you got to have a tool or something, because you actually have to see this little gray piece here on this is on the lever. When you change your shutter speed, you have to pull out that gray with your fingernail. You have to pull that out away from the body, and then it allows you to move this over to your ASA setting. Wow. And then you let go of that little gray button. So
take the lens off. Take the lens off to see what the camera looks without the lens off.
Yeah. So to take the lens off, and like I said, you're gonna have the okay.
So all that system is behind the
mount.
The mount.
Your shutter speed selector is behind the mount.
That's crazy.
And
such good shape for its age.
Yeah, it has a few. It had a few depressions on the back. I mean, it didn't break the paint, but a few little depressions on the back that you could see. You know, with the light a certain way, you might be able to see it there on the corner. Looks like a dent.
Okay.
A couple of depressions. That's it. Other than that, I mean, and I sent this out for I sent this out for CLA. I had all new seals put on it. I had the metering system was within less than a half a stop. Like I said, you could lock the.
So what was the shutter?
You can lock the meter up with that lever. Meters.
I gotta run, guys. Sorry, I gotta jump.
Okay. See ya.
But the pain in the neck thing was the other thing here. So you have one flash sync on here. The older cameras used to have two flash syncs. They'd have one if you were using a flash bulbs, normally labeled FP, or and then you'd have one X sync for your electronic flash. So this will recognize either or. You don't have to have it. You only have one hookup point instead of two. And the flash sync was actually faster than the F series cameras. It was 1/25th of a second versus 1/90th of a second. And I think the quirk. I'll show you an image of the focusing screen here. Give me a second to bring it up. I have a picture of it. so I could show you what the focusing screen looked like. So this is what the focusing screen looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So you have what became kind of like a standard on a lot of the Nikon cameras later on. You could not see your f-stop looking through the viewfinder. You could see your shutter speeds at the bottom. You had a needle, and this was something that was backwards than a lot of other cameras. Is most cameras, if the needle went up, that was overexposed. If the needle went down, it was underexposed. On this camera, it's the other way around. If the needle goes up, see how it's negative and plus. Underexposed, overexposed. You want the needle right in the middle of that cutout. And then you had a 3mm split image rangefinder in the middle, surrounded by a 1mm, what they call the micro prism collar. And then this area outside of here was an etched circle that they put in so that you knew that what was the center of the 60-40 center weighted metering system. So that's all you have when you look through the viewfinder. And then the fun part was that people didn't like with whether it be the F-mount body or the or the Nicker mat was how do you align and make sure that your metering system is going to correctly work with your lenses, because you had to go through a routine every time you change the lens. So you have this piece here that rotates. See how I moved it? So you want to have it all the way clockwise as far as it'll go, is where I have it now.
In the latest camera, that was like with a spring, correct? They will go back into the correct position. Like I recall from my F3, it was like that, correct?
Yeah. Now this particular lens on this is not a Nikon lens. It came with and this is actually, I looked it up. It's a decent lens. It's a Vivitar 35-70, 2.8 to 3.8, and it's called the macro focusing zoom, and it's a push-pull zoom.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty decent. And what you have to do is, for any lens that you're going to put on this camera, you have to set your aperture, okay, you have to set it so it's at f5.6. So you adjust that to f5.6, and then you have what they call the rabbit ear on the end of the lens. See that slot?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to go in between that linkage, that little pin that's sticking out. So you set it for 5.6. You go and you put it on. You make sure you have it so that that tang, that rabbit ear is through that pin, and you rotate the lens. Once you do that, you got to move the f-stop aperture ring in both directions, and that syncs it up with the metering system. And how you can tell that it's right, and I really can't be hard to show you, is this lens is a f2.8. On the side of the, see how you got 5.6, 2.8?
Oh, there.
Right up here?
Yeah.
You know if you're synced right, because under that 2.8, there's going to be a little red line. And if you did it right, and you know the lens wide open is 2.8, you look at that on the barrel of your lens body, and you look for that little red indicator line, and you make sure it's right underneath the f2.8 mark, and then you know it's synced, and then it's going to work right and meter correctly. So that's they used to call it, they'd say you have to do the dance with the lens and the body. They used to call it, you got to do the dance, sit there and fool around. And it really isn't that complicated, but obviously if you were someone that, as a professional, when you got away from having this manual indexing that you had to do, and when the camera could auto index and knew what lens you put on the camera, obviously, if you had to change lenses real fast to capture an image,
out of luck,
you could do it. You can't change the lens super fast when you got to sit here. Okay, move the pin all the way one direction, set your lens to 5.6, put it on, lock it on the camera body, move your aperture ring both directions fully, and then check and make sure that it recognized the widest aperture that it lines up, and then you're good to go. But all that takes time. So for someone that says, "Oh, I gotta get the 50 off of here. I gotta do a crowd shot. I gotta put a 28 on," you could miss the shot because it isn't quick. It isn't quick for doing that kind of stuff. And that was kind of like the big deal. Now the film advance, you could do a full stroke. They say, "Oh, you could do partial strokes." That's a joke. I mean, the full stroke is not hard to do. You just do the full stroke. And when you look at the winder, film advance lever, trying to get enough light on this here so you can see it. See the red dot near the winder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Red dot. If you have the winder pushed all the way in, you can't see the red dot.
No.
So when you have the film advance lever pushed all the way forward, and you don't see that red dot, your metering system is turned off.
Oh, okay.
So you have to have the lever so that you see the red dot. Now your metering system works. When you want to not waste the battery, you're going to put it back in your bag. You push the lever all the way forward. You cover up that red dot, and the metering system is turned off. You're not wasting your battery. So some people like that. Some people didn't like that. And I talked about what you see looking through the viewfinder. Like I said, it had the depth of field preview button on the top. And let's see, that's about it. I mean, it's a camera. I mean, obviously it's over 50 years old. You buy any camera that's 40 years old, 50 years old, expect at a minimum that you're going to have to change the seals in the back of the camera if it has them, and not all camera bodies have seals in the back, because it all depends on how they stamped the sheet metal and how they did the sheet metal. So some of these cameras will have a very small, right up in here in this groove, will have a little strip of foam through here.
Yep.
And it all depends on the camera model and how deep this lip from the back goes in, because many cameras back in the day did not have any foam in the back at all, but they were light tight because the way the cameras were built, there was no way, that the light was going to get in, and it was strictly how they made the stampings, how they manufactured that particular body. So some cameras won't have anything on them. Some will have felt right here in the corner. I mean, on the edge against the camera. Some models don't. Okay. But you can rest assured that you buy a camera it's in the 60s. I'd say even you always have to look at it. You have to see if those seals are starting to get brittle and flake, because it's going to get on your film. Okay. And you have to make sure that your mirror foam isn't breaking apart, because if you take the lens off, you buy a used camera, you take the lens off and you see a bunch of little black specks all over your mirror, it's probably the mirror foam is breaking apart and you need to replace it. Now, I paid to have somebody do this one and go through the whole camera and check out the metering system. And I know this camera right now is The metering system is very, very accurate. The shutter speeds are accurate. I could go out and shoot with this thing tomorrow. I'm not worrying about the result I'm going to get unless I screw up, basically. But what I'm doing in the future is I decided in the future, or on some of my older cameras, because not all my cameras have had CLAs on them. I know they work. I've run film through them or whatever, but I've bought camera light seal foam, and you can get different thicknesses. And I'm just going to start cutting my own foam and making my own, mirror dampening foam and replace it myself. Because, if you have someone that just does that, if you find someone inexpensive, you're talking between shipping costs and doing it, you're going to spend a minimum of $80, if not over $100, depending on who you manage to find. So basically for maybe an hour's worth of work or less, depending on how hard it is to remove the old stuff, and to cut these pieces and put them in, we'll just say maybe you get good at it, you could do it in 30 minutes, but doing it for the first time, I'm sure it's going to take me an hour or a little more, but it's going to literally cost me a couple dollars. It's just my time. So I'm going to learn how to do it. Well, I already know how to do it. I just had to get the material, and I'm just going to start doing it.
Sound fiddly to me.
Yeah, very nice.
But these cameras are great cameras. They're very, and you could get a camera like this in reasonably good condition. You might have to do a CLA, send it out. And I spent shipping. I think I spent $130 to have this thing gone through completely, but I had to have new lugs put on the front too. So that was a good part of that money. But if I just did a CLA on this, I probably could have had it done for, I'm guessing, $110 plus shipping. And if you could pick up one of these, which you may be able to for $100 or less, and you put you put 150 in, you got $250, and you got a camera, it's worth every penny of that $250. And it's just going to be worth more over time. And you got a working camera. You got a really good camera that's not going to crap out on you and doesn't need a battery to work. So,
very good.
So anyway, that's my pitch on that. And if you want to see other Nikkormat cameras that I mentioned, Mr. Wu talked about each of them briefly, not as in as much detail as I just did, but it's a nice video that John did with him. So that's always cool to watch.
Yeah, that's nice.
But anyway, let me get everybody back up.
Well, I think I have my pictures ready for.
Okay. If we go over tonight a little bit, as long as you guys are awake enough, we could do that. Go past midnight if necessary, because I think hey, we only got a couple shows left, guys. What the heck if we go over the last couple weeks? I'm not going to cry about it. My wife will be pissed at me, but I mean, I'll deal with it.
All right.
So, do you have? Let me see. You have them ready to show, I see here. So we're going to let Luis talk about these images he took, where he took them, and let him have the ball and go rolling here. So give me like 10 seconds or so to bring up his.
Oh, I'll go quickly through it because I remember Costa Rica still. So.
Yeah. Go a little quicker than that.
Yeah, I'll go quicker. I'm just going to showcase a little bit of what fauna you can find in the island of St. Martin in the Caribbean. Now, St. Martin is located to the east, roughly to the east of Puerto Rico. And you have the old row of bigger islands, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. And then when the Caribbean islands become say, rather small, and then you get all of that row of islands that all of a sudden turn to the south. St. Martin is kind of right at the edge where the row of islands turns from east-west to north-south. So to the south of St. Martin, you have a group of small islands, Saba, St. Eustatius, and then you get to, I think it's St. Kitts. Anyway, these are monkeys. They are not, it's an African species. They are kind of a problem in the islands. There have been sightings I just read on internet since the 1970s. I don't know how they got there originally. I heard a few of them escaped after Hurricane Irma in 2017 from the local zoo. So they are roaming around the island, and it's a bit of a problem. So that they are thinking about how to control the population. But the monkeys don't cooperate. That's what I understood. So there are different ways that they think like, well, shall we hunt them? But in the former Dutch side, they are not being caught yet. So they are they don't run away that much. I understand on the French side of the island, because the island has two nationalities, let's say. There's a French side and there is an independent former Dutch side. On the French side, they are not trying to sterilize a population or catch them. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. Apparently, the north side, they did try, and the monkeys are very skittish. They don't let anybody approach them. And in the south side, they are kind of still, they tolerate people. It's an African species, but the youngsters are very cute.
Yes.
Let's move. Hang on. Give me a second. I have to press.
They got more hair on their head than I do, so they're cute.
They're cute. Yeah. I moved pictures. Can you see a different one now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This is again another introduced species, so not native. This is an Asian mongoose, which cause a lot of problems. It's the cause of the local extinction in the island of the only snake that used to live there. Was introduced in the 19th century to control, again, something that now would not be, say, allowed, to control rats and snakes, and they are pretty much everywhere. And they decimated the snake population in St. Martin. You do see them from time to time. Not easy to photograph. I was happy with this one. It's an Asian mongoose, a small Asian mongoose. Now we move quickly to some reptiles. I took macro Tokina 100 millimeter, and I also took the old 18 to 300 f-mount DX lens and a flash. So some of these are with the Tokina, some are with the old flash.
Now, for shots like this, what percentage of the time?
Yes.
Do you feel you use that you use a flash?
Oh, I use a flash all the time. This is
Do
at
you
the end. Yeah, this is at the end of
Do you
the day.
use it on the birds as well? Small birds?
No, I didn't use the flash for birds at all. I just use the flash there for macro photography.
Okay.
And I use a flash even during daytime. I think this was kind of the end of the day.
Yeah.
And this is a small anole, a few inches long. They live in a few islands around there. This is during daytime, no flash, a different species of anole, and you see that the way the males display to each other, you have that kind of skin coming down through the throat. That's very common in anole species. The previous one is the same as this one here. Is not displaying that yellow kind of flap. This one is during daytime in the shade, also with a flash and a diffuser. And I know this one was with the old DX, and I was using the old D7100 on this shot. This is another anole. This is a combination of two pictures because handheld, what I normally do with these animals, I focus in the eye and then I focus elsewhere, and then I try to combine the pictures if it works out later.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, even if you're not using a tripod, because this is an anole on top of a rock. It just stood there for a few seconds, and then you try to approach. This one I had a flash as well. Yeah, I had a flash.
Love the photo.
Yeah, thanks. And this one
I like the pattern. I like the pattern on this one.
Yeah, this is a different species. This is from the island of Saba, a really, really small island with its own anole species. So this is in a different island. Now, this one is not very well focused, but this is a ground gecko. The whole animal is not longer than 1.5 inches.
Wow.
And they live in the litter. You see those leaves? They live under the leaves during daytime. The only way I took this picture was, I was looking for them for 2 weeks. And then on the last day, this was the last day of the trip. Took a picture. I saw something moving. I was like, what is this? And they were like, oh, this is one of these ground geckos. And they were under the leaves. So what I did with the twig, I started moving leaves around until I saw something move. And you won't believe it. I saw something like 9 or 11 of these small things, but they would just move around. And this one stayed there for 1 second. So I took a picture, and it's the only picture I really have on of this species. But I mean,
and that with your flash too as well.
Yeah, this was during daytime with the flash and the Tokina 100, I think.
Yes.
But it took me close to 1 hour to take this picture.
So when you're using your flash, are you using it in manual mode and knocking down the output, or are you using like full TTL and letting it decide?
Well, yeah, it depends on how much ambient light you have and what you wanted. Here, imagine that I'm at 10 meters from the sandy beach, and these are like the first trees that have like these thick leaves. And I just found them. I was looking for another animal that I'll show you in the next couple of pictures, and then I saw these ones in the leaf litter. So I was kind of using the flash as a field flash at first, but this was actually so dark that I went full ITTL, took a few test shots, and then I had to play a bit I lowered the shutter speed to 1/60th of a second, took a few test shots, moved the f-stop quite. This is f13, I think. And once I was happy with what I could see on the display, because I was blowing the highlights of some of these leaves as well from time to time, so I reduced it.
Yeah.
The power a bit. It's sometimes a bit difficult.
Yeah.
So if you have time, make a few test shots. But this one was particularly difficult because they were moving. You would never know where they would stop. So I was just going over with a twig, and they would move under another leaf. This one stayed there just for this picture. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
No, if I would go back next time, I'll spend a few days among the litter trying to find those little geckos. Not this one is a much bigger gecko, also native to a few of those islands. It's the turnip-tailed gecko. You see this everywhere. You just need to find like a good, say, rock to take a picture of them. I have a few of these on let's say a white wall, and then it's not nice. I mean,
yeah,
you take a picture of it, but that's it.
So Luis, I mentioned that, like, and don't know if everybody knows that, being the lizards are mostly diurnal, the geckos are mostly nocturnals.
Exactly. You see the big eyes. The bigger the eyes, the higher the chance that they are nocturnal to see well in the dark.
Yeah.
So that even that one that lived in the litter was also nocturnal. You think?
Yes, that's why I had to search where, because they would be resting under those leaves.
Mm.
Now the one you see now, they crawl and they climb rocks and walls and everything. The other one is a ground species. That's why it's more difficult.
More typical geckos. So in the neotropics or in the tropics, correct?
Yes.
You typically see geckos around the lights in the night because they are hunting for the insects around the lights.
Yeah. And there is also an introduced tropical gecko from Africa, which is also very common. But I didn't include a picture on this presentation. This is a green iguana by the sea. The background that you see is actually it's the sea.
The ocean, yeah.
Ocean, yeah.
Yeah.
It was right by the ocean. And this one had also some kind of blue coloration in the face. It's a male. It was a funny one. And this is also a male, but has a completely different coloration that kind of matched the background as well. And they are everywhere, these green iguanas. And, now, you recognize those leaves? That's where the ground gecko was.
Yeah, okay.
So this is a red-footed tortoise. Comes originally from South America. In Venezuela, you would have those. Gustavo. Yeah. Nobody knows exactly when these tortoises were introduced to several Caribbean islands. It's even probably pre-European presence. They were probably taken from one island to the other as a kind of a food source.
Yeah. Remember the fact that the tortoises were eaten because they were easy to travel by ship, correct?
Yes. So they would survive. They would survive long periods of time without any food, and then they could be eaten afterwards. Yeah. It's I saw these tortoises there, and you see the leaves. That's where the other. This is the way I found the other little geckos, because I was looking for these ones, and then I saw the other geckos moving. This picture, and I found. I think I saw three different of these tortoises. This is a very small island adjacent to the main island, and you can come here either by renting a canoe or by a small ferry that takes you in a few minutes to this little island, and there are a few beaches there. And it's one of the best places to find these tortoises. They are not very common at all.
Wow.
So this one was taken also with a flash.
Beautiful.
And this one also includes, ambient light and a bit of flash.
Okay. So you were doing mostly filling flash?
Yes, I'll go back then. Yeah, here it was filling flash. The one with the gecko was pure ITTL, let's say, kind of full power. Yeah. Because you see on the top of the tortoise, you see a bit of sunlight.
Okay.
Yeah. And at the back as well. So there is sunlight at the back. But you see the flash reflection there on the cheeks of the tortoise.
Yeah.
So this is more of kind of a delicate balance. You have to not give too much power. So here the flash is in manual, and then minus, well, depends on the type of flash, minus 30, 64th of
power.
Of power, yes. And some flashes work with full numbers. I'm not sure. It depends on the flash.
Right. Yeah. Some are 1 to 10 or
1 to 10. Yeah, something like that.
0.1 increments or whatever. And some are, like you said, the old style, half power, third power, quarter power.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I go, then in this case, I go manual. I always start with a very low power. Adjust the f-stop if you have, or the millimeters, you can adjust in the flash as well. So you kind of guess a little bit if that's going to be okay. Take a few test shots, and then you And then sometimes you don't even realize that you're using the flash until you overexpose the scene, so to speak. So you don't. Sometimes you can just use flash. Start with a low power and then just go higher. You immediately see if it's completely wrong. I normally start with very low power so I don't scare the animals. So this is at night. This is the opposite. This is not field flash. This is ITTL full power. This is a local tree frog. At least when we were there, it was raining almost every day. You hear them continuously. It's actually the chorus of frogs were even more impressive than in Costa Rica. It was quite funny.
So these are the same one that they have Puerto Rico, the coquis, or
they are called coquis, correct? The exact species name I don't remember. I would have to find it. But there is only one native species of frog in that island. It's this one.
Okay.
How long is that frog? Would you say?
Inch.
An inch long, yeah.
Inch and a half. Not okay. It's the lesser Antillean whistling frog.
Okay.
Or coqui.
Okay.
Yeah. You hear them everywhere. And this one actually found on the first night that I was there, and I was really happy because I didn't search for them anymore.
Oh, do you hear them all the time?
You hear them all the time. Now, this one is a different species.
Okay.
This is a Cuban tree frog, which is this. I think they are also present in Costa Rica. They travel all over they go with fruit and in boats. So it's not a native frog. They didn't travel. It's a recent introduction. If you go on internet.
Okay.
So they were carried there. The island doesn't have that many, let's say, natural lakes. So under normal circumstances, this frog would not be present in greater numbers. But people living there, they have ponds, they have little lakes in their gardens, and that's where these frogs survive. Otherwise, the larvae wouldn't have had the time to develop. The smaller coqui frog, they are not so much dependent on water. So they are adapted to the local conditions. Now, this is a snake in the island of Saba. This is the species of snake that was that went extinct in St. Martin after the introduction of the mongoose that I showed you the picture before. But because in Saba there are no mongoose, actually we saw like 8 or 9 of these snakes when we were there on one hike.
Wow.
And this snake was, say, about maybe 3 feet long, perhaps, not longer than that, 90 centimeters. I didn't catch it, but it was not very, they were not afraid of people. That was quite funny to see. Spoke to a few locals and they said, yeah, we see them all the time, and they just walk past. So this is a bug. Don't ask me what it is. It's a green bug.
I think you nailed it. It's a bug. You're good.
Excellent. It's a green bug. But I'm quite happy with the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it has like armor plating on it or something.
Yeah. It's well, I know the general Dutch name. I don't know the name of this type of bug in English, but it's and this was in the forest, really dark, also full flash power with a diffuser during daytime. He was very cooperative. Stayed there for quite a long time. So
the top of it behind the eyes there it looks like the shape of a leaf and the color of a leaf.
Yeah. It's definitely mimicking.
Trying to blend in with the surroundings, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And
is this a family of the stingbugs? I mean,
yeah, I think so. Yes. Yeah. But it was the only of this type of bugs that I actually saw there.
Okay.
But you see the background in the green, let's say, circle shape behind. I was aiming for that background when I took this picture.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier to have the brown background in the way that he was standing, but I with a bit of effort and bending the leaves, I managed to take a few pictures with a kind of a green background that highlights more of, let's say, his colors.
Yeah.
And I think, let me have a look here. No, I was wondering if this was a combination of two pictures, but it's not. It's only one picture. It's okay. Happy with it.
I like it. Yeah, it's nice.
Another.
Cool too. Oh, geez. Looks like a slinky, man. It's a slinky toy.
I think it is. I think, yeah. What do you call this? Not a centipede. It's a
Millipede.
Millipede.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hiking, piece of wood, and I saw this thing. Like there were two of them, and then but it was moving. It was not standing still. So I was kind of happy with this picture.
Now, when you're walking through the woods, you know, and you see something like that, or just say walking through the woods, typically, are you using? Do you have more than one camera set up with different lenses, or are you just going out with one camera?
No, I always try to have at least two cameras.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit of a guess because I knew we were going to hike for a little while, so I had let me think. This one was the 18-300, the X. Yes, it was this one. So I had this one with the old DSLR, the 7100, and I had the Z8 with the 500 PF with me as well. I actually had the 500 PF on my hands, so I had to put my backpack down and get the macro out, put the flash, and then starting to shoot. I know I moved the wood bit a little bit so that I could get him more or less horizontal, but he was moving all the time. So I normally don't like to, because the thing is with these animals, if you touch them, they roll up and then they don't move for a while.
Yeah, they curl up and yeah, you might as well just walk away.
Exactly. So there is no point on doing that. So hopefully, I just moved the trunk a little bit so that he would not be scared, and then just took a few shots, and this was kind of the best. I would have liked the head to be kind of more visible, but yeah, what can you do?
Yeah.
Well, a dragonfly, kind of a green on green on green. This was with the Z8 with a 500 PF. It was not easy to, 500 PF is not a great lens for this type of shot. You have to stay so far away.
Yeah.
And this was in a path. There were people walking, and the thing was moving, flying off and coming back. But it was coming back kind of to the more or less the same place. So I just waited a bit and took this shot. Another butterfly, you see, just going a little bit quicker through. Another kind of neotropical butterfly that you see there as well. This is during daytime, also with the Tokina 100 with the flash and the diffuser. This was on the
moth.
It's not a moth technically. It's a Aspiradii. I don't remember. It does look like a moth, but it's a daytime active moth.
Yeah.
This is a moth.
Wow.
And it's a quite big one.
Yeah, that give you a nightmare.
Yeah. I don't know what this is from, to be honest, but this was easily 2 inches big in the island of Saba. Also, again, this is a Tokina flash.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is back in St. Martin. I have 2 of these. This was just where we were staying. We saw these on the floor, and took a few pictures. Difficult with the flash and full ITTL with such a white body. So I lowered the power and took a few shots. Another moth, daytime, also with the flash, but plenty of light. Now we go to the birds a bit. This is a banana quid. They are everywhere in the island. You hear them continuously.
Yes.
This is also a very common species throughout the island. I think is a black-faced grass kid. This is a male. The Zenaida dove, they are everywhere on the island. They are kind of endemic to the Antilles and the north of South America. I've never seen this one before. These don't live in Costa Rica. This is also a local to several islands there. Scaly-naped pigeon. This is a grackle displaying. This is a Carib grackle. And this is again the Carib grackle with a nice background, I think.
Yeah, I like it right there.
I went down to get this picture with a kind of perspective at the back. Gray kingbird. I don't know if you have those where you live, Jeff.
What kind of bird again?
A gray kingbird.
Huh.
Yeah.
They are they live, I think, from the Bahamas south, maybe Florida. I'm not sure. I actually saw one of these in Costa Rica once. They kind of pass through Costa Rica as they migrate. I only saw it once there. I was even surprised to see it. But here in St. Martin, you see them every hour. You see a few. They are everywhere as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
In St. Martin, there are two species of hummingbirds. This is one of them. I'll come back to the name shortly. That's the same species. It's a green-throated Carib. That's what it is. Now remember.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's the same spot, but a bit from the side. So this is with the Z8 500 PF, and this is quite far. It's not really close. It's a big crop, let's say.
Yeah.
The background was not ideal, but yeah, that's we have to live with it.
Yeah, you can't do too much with it.
Wow. Is that a coquette?
It's not very well focused, but okay. It's focused in the flowers. The thing was moving a lot. This is the. I'll come to the. Just give me a minute, and I'll come up with the name. I'll check on eBird exactly. I don't want to give you the wrong name. It's the same as this one.
Yeah, it looks like a coquette, but probably it's not.
It's a hummingbird. I know it's something with crested.
Okay.
Here it was a bit
beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, this one, and you know how it goes with hummingbirds. I showed you guys like a picture of this beach with nobody at the beach because we had to hike to get there, and I saw a male of this species flying away as we were over the edge to go down to the beach. And I said to my wife, you know what? I stay here for a little while because he might come back. And
you could just title that one "Bad Hair Day."
Yeah. Okay, so it's the species name is Antillean crested hummingbird.
Wow, beautiful.
So after a few minutes, I saw him back more or less to where he was. And then after like half an hour, I got a hang of where he liked to perch. So I just moved to where he was regularly coming. And this is with the 500 PF. And I'm really not far from the animal anymore. I was actually so close that I had to increase the f-stop a lot to get a bit of depth.
So go back, Luis.
Go back.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. No.
It's the same species.
Yeah.
hummingbirds there. There are less, say, flowering plants than, let's say, in a jungle. So you see them, but they are difficult to anticipate or to. So when I saw this male perched and he flew away as I was passing by, then I thought, with a bit of luck, he will come back because he was territorial. But it was the only kind of place where I could actually take nice pictures of these species. I've seen this. You wouldn't see it almost every day, but it was not easy to photograph at all. A hummingbird in St. Martin. You would have to really know where to find them. They're not extremely common, but you could see them every day, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And this is like a small. These are brown pelican. There is a small colony in one of peninsula from the island. But this is a species I hadn't seen before. This is a brown booby. These are very common around the island. And this is a pelican again, the brown pelican. And this is just before hitting the water.
Yeah, before he knocks his head. Yeah, there he goes.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Good capture.
This is a North American wintering. This is I think it's a belted kingfisher, is it?
Yeah, it looks like a belted kingfisher.
Tropic bird.
Yeah, this is a tropic bird. This is in the island of Saba. I saw them in St. Martin only once in 2 weeks. But
those are beautiful.
In the island of Saba, they are really, really common. This is from really, really far. But still, let's say, I was happy because I hadn't seen them in a long time. But in the island of Saba, they breed in big numbers. So they were kind of easy to see, but they were all very far. And the one before was right at the end of the day. This is, I don't know, ISO, whatever. I'll give you the ISO in a minute, but I'll just carry on. I don't have that many pictures left. You probably recognize both of these.
Yeah.
Wimbrel and and the ruddy turnstone. You see those in North America as well.
Yeah. Oyster catcher.
Yeah. But I know you see these all the time, Jeff, but this was the first time I ever took a picture of one of these.
They're fun to watch. I like them. They're fun.
And he catched one of these hermit crabs. And he was having a hard time to get him out of the shell. I don't know if he was able to do it or not.
He'll pulverize it. He'll get it. He'll pulverize it.
Okay. The bills are actually a lot stronger than the European ones. I realized after I took the pictures.
Because the ones that we have here, they have two methods of, they're eating mostly clams or oysters, and their methods of getting the meat is some of them will just hammer through the shell and get the meat out, and others will be creative and just pry the bivalve open. They'll be able to get their bill in there, and they'll just work, right on that edge where it's closed, and work it open, and then just pull the meat out. So two techniques of getting the food, and it's easy to tell who has what technique, because the ones that are hammering, boy, their head's just going up and down like a jackhammer,
Yeah. Well,
is this a least turn? Is that a least turn?
Bittern.
A bittern, least bittern. That's what I said.
Yeah.
You don't see them here that often, I'll tell you that.
Apparently not there either, because I put it on the observation on internet, and it came back as a question mark. And I thought, well, maybe maybe they're not seen very well, but they are well within the range. But it just happened to fly to this mangrove, and I was there. I said, okay, great. Not the best picture, but a good observation.
Yeah. Oh, those are pretty.
Yeah, it's one of the species I wanted to see. They live. They live from the Bahamas down along the the islands of the Caribbean, and St. Martin has a lot of salt lakes. So they are kind of common in St. Martin, but they are rare in other islands. And even then, you have to be lucky to be. And these were just next to a bridge. You don't imagine how much traffic was crossing here, and they were just there.
Yeah, they're pretty, very beautiful.
They are really beautiful. Yeah.
That red on the bill really pops, and the spots and the green, a little bit of green there.
Yeah.
That's wonderful looking bird.
Yeah, there were like ruddy ducks there as well, and I saw ring-necked ducks spending the winter there. This is called a white-cheeked pintail.
Yeah, that's pretty. Very
Yeah,
nice.
no, those are.
I'm not much of a duck guy, to be honest with you, because most of the ducks we have around here aren't overly pretty. They're very dull colors, a lot of brown, they don't really have any pop to them, but when you could get there are a few, you get the light right, they look really good. Even a mallard duck looks good in the right light.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I think this is the same couple, was the same place 1 or 2 days later. You see at the back, those shades in the water, those are cars passing by. But okay, that's where they were. So okay, I went there 1 or 2 days later. This is the end of the day with a lot of, let's say, some low light. But they weren't very keen on. They were ignoring me to the point that they were eating all the time. So I was happy when the beaks were not in the water. And so this one is a North American visitor as well, a Merlin. It's a Merlin, and here he is flying.
Wow.
But this is also at the end of the day. I know the ISO must be a lot. Hang on, I'll let you know. This is it's not that bad. It's 2000. I did well because I thought the eyes would be quite a lot. It was at the end of the day. I think this is, yeah, and I think this is the last picture. This is an American kestrel.
That's pretty. I like that.
Maybe the only. Well, the Merlin spends the winter also there, but this is a local bird. Let's say the American kestrel. I know there are red-tailed hawks there. I didn't see one. This is one of them flying. I think it's a female. I saw a peregrine falcon, but these are the birds of prey that you see the most there. And this is the last picture, by the way.
No, thanks so much for sharing, and wonderful shots.
So go back to that kestrel.
What's nice too is that you get, you're not hung up on one thing. I mean, you get bugs, you get lizards, you get, you're going for the whole, to really show what's in that environment. You're not just, strictly just doing birds all the time. You're taking snakes and lizards and bugs and millipedes and everything. That's cool. I like that.
So that kestrel was a female or a male? With the kestrel,
the one flying from the back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys are the experts of.
Show me. That's what I want.
Hang on, I'll put it back. The one before the last was a male, but hang on, I'll share these in a second. Just give me I have to go back here.
Beautiful, Luis. Indeed, I second what Bob Rosado mentioned here. Beautiful images.
Yeah,
they capture. You have you certainly are the best naturalists of the lot here, with getting all these different images, and those pintails are beautiful.
Yeah, but I have to carry everything with me. That's the drawback,
that's what we do. That's what we do. and the hummingbirds, those kind of Antilles hummingbirds, they are not easy. So for your life list, those are important, correct? You're not going to see them anywhere.
Yeah, a few months ago, you guys were talking about me when I was not here and saying that I tick off a list. I don't. I have a list of what I've seen. I don't have a list of what I want to see. Otherwise, you go to depressed.
No, but you know what? Birders typically have a life.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. But I don't want to give myself that pressure. I mean,
Exactly.
I see what I see. What I don't see, I don't care. That's it. I don't care. It's relative.
I'm the same. I'm the same.
Yeah.
So show me the let's check there.
I think I'm sharing that or not, Jeff. Can you see?
Oh, okay. Wait a minute.
Just to show Gustavo.
And
This one, you mean?
Yeah, that's not a female for sure. Because I mean, kestrels, the American kestrel, both the male and the females are beautiful, right? So that's a female.
But the back is different from the male, or not? I mean,
yes,
in Europe,
exactly.
in Europe, it would be, but in America, I think it's the same.
No, the male has some gray in the wings.
Yeah, I see it now. Yes. No, that's
So
what
if
I
you go,
thought. Yeah.
and the other one, go back to the close up, because that looks more like a male. Yeah.
Oh, it's quite sharp. I see it. Sorry, I was scared there for a second. Yeah, this is a male. Yeah, this is with the 500 PF and the Z8, and I'm actually, for what I like to shoot, I'm shooting too much from underneath.
Yes. No, but
the problem here was that the background from where I was horrible. There was a house behind it, and I didn't want a house.
Yeah. Those things always are above you. So
I mean, all you can do is you have the longer glasses. Sometimes you know this. Sometimes you back up a little. You get back up a little more to change the angle so it doesn't look like you're shooting up as much. But then you got to crop it more.
Yeah.
But
what sometimes you don't see is where there is something behind you, or there is you cannot go. You don't always have the freedom.
Yeah, you can't back up at all sometimes.
No, I know. I was in between bushes and trees, so it was kind of. And I was trying to get more of a background where the background is kind of blue and not white, but that didn't work out. So, okay, next time.
Yeah. No, that's very good, Luis. Fantastic.
No, I take it, no problem.
I close it now.
So, and your son still working his project there, or not?
Yeah, he's still there, and I was just apping my daughter because my wife and my daughter will fly in a couple of hours again to St. Martin. Not again, and I'm here.
Okay. Well,
so my daughter was she didn't go to St. Martin yet to see her brother. So I bought the tickets for my daughter and my wife. Since she doesn't work for a while, she said, "Okay, then go." And I have to work. Somebody has to work, so I stay here, and that's no problem at all.
Hopefully, you will visit again. And now with the knowledge you have, you know exactly what to bring.
No, that's true. That's true. So, but because my daughter lives in the UK, in London, in fact, so she's now flying in 1 hour to Amsterdam, and then she will meet my wife at the airport, and then they'll fly from Amsterdam to St. Martin. That's
beautiful. Certainly better weather than
modern family.
Certainly they're going to get better weather than in the Netherlands this time of the year.
Since you were nice enough to share pictures, I'm just going to throw a reminder up for the photo review.
Yeah.
To remind everybody, okay, it's coming up. You got the holidays. You got 2 holidays coming up back to back. I know it may be hard to get anything into me, but I think I mentioned we got 22 images so far. So let's see if we can sneak a few my way between now and the 4th of January.
I have to send you a few as well. I'll do that later, perhaps.
So I appreciate whatever we could get. I mean, that'll be our first photo review for 2025. So
that's right.
We kind of want it to be successful, right? At least I do.
Exactly.
Let's see. Now, Gustavo, did you have something else you wanted to show, or
No. That's the two things that I wanted to share.
okay?
We send we show the new styling bite for the photo review next week after you have a chance to edit. So
I'll just throw in here do a few rumor discussions quickly, and we're over our normal time, and but what the heck, we only got 2 shows left, so I'll throw out some Sony rumors here, and we did Nikon rumor stuff earlier, and now person named Jeremy Gray from Petapixel wrote an article with the title, Sony has nearly every lens it needs. Now it's time to get weird. That's an interesting title.
Weird, yeah.
So he said it's exciting to imagine what Sony could do with its optical expertise, in-house camera system, and significant financial resources if it prioritized not filling gaps, but making lenses nobody has ever seen. So they came up with their list of what they'd like Sony to copy from other brands. Or reproduce for their mount, their camera system, and they picked the Canon RF 100 to 300 2.8 IS USM lens, the Canon 85mm 1.2 L USM lens, the Nikon Z28 to 400 f4 to f8 VR lens, and the Nikon Z 800mm f6.3 VRS lens. And then they listed lenses that no one else has done yet that are unique to Sony. They got a 20mm f1.2 GM. They've got a 20 to 150 f4 to f6.3 travel zoom lens. Well, like Nikon's got the 24 to 120, they got the 20 to 150. They got a Sony 50mm f0.95, I believe, GM autofocus lens. They've got a Sony 70 to 150 f2. That's pretty impressive. I don't know what that costs though.
F2, okay.
Yeah, and they've got a 100 to 500 f4 GM. And then they said finally in stock for the first time is they got their 28 to 70 f2. That's $28.98. Then I guess I missed it on the Nikon rumors here. I must have missed this. They had 2. I either missed it or I'm trying to back up here and see. I must have accidentally deleted it. But they've got they've got 2 new Laowa lenses coming out that are tilt shift lenses. I think a 50, and they're macros, I believe, a 50mm and a 100mm macro, and they're both priced the same. So they've got those lenses that are available in. I noticed that they are available in the Fuji mount, the Sony mount, the Nikon mount. So go to Nikon rumors, and I just got a text messages from our friend Wayne Maddox. Let me just share his comments with you here. He wishes us a happy holidays. Same to you, Wayne. Says all is fine on his end. Needed a break from everything. YouTube was becoming like work. Oh, I know all about that. Was thinking of dialing back since the end of 23. Long story short, while in Mongolia, started taking blood pressure meds, making him dizzy all the time. Had a massage treatment. Muscles were really tight, pretty much like how they were before he quit his IT job to start traveling. Too much time on researching and doing videos, and it was taxing him more than he realized. So he decided to just quit. Live and make videos about things he feels like. He's got applied for his long-term visa, and I think
John.
He mentioned that he has that now. So now he's settling in and living in Malaysia. So Wayne, you're always welcome to pop on. Hey, you're always going to be a member of the community, whether you want to be or not. It's how it works. So you're always welcome. Just pop in and just say hi, man. People just like to see your face and say hi to you. And we wish you the best of Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and good luck settling into your new residence. And finally, you won't be hopping around. You don't have to look anymore. You know where you're going to be, and that will calm you down. Just knowing you have a spot now, and now things are going to you will relax. Just once you get all that moving in stuff done, you will be able to finally take a deep breath.
Although we admire his traveling life that he had before.
Oh yes, Mike. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. But best wishes to you and your family.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got from Sony. Two new Sony E-mount lenses coming in 2025. Supposedly a zoom and a prime. Not a successor to any previous lenses. They're going to be completely new, but they don't know what they're going to be. Sony Alpha Rumors has a link to a lens review for the 7 Artisans 10mm f2.8 fisheye version 2. So if you want to see the lens review for that, go to Sony Alpha Rumors. They also have a video for the much talked about Viltrox 135 f1.8 lab lens for the Sony FE. And for those of you, most of you already know that Topaz has their sale for their software, and the more you buy, the more you save. They've got Photo AI 3 for $139, Video AI 5 for $209, Gigapixel 8 for $69. And if you buy one package, you save 30%. If you buy all three, you save 50%.
By the way, I think there was a question early on. We may have to address that one because it was long time ago. From Sanjit about the Topaz software. So if you look all the way down, then you will find it. But we try to answer that next week, Jeff.
Okay.
Any of you guys use Topaz? Because I don't.
I just use Topaz denoise is the only thing I have. Older version, I don't use the Photo AI package. I just have the older version for the denoise only, denoise and sharpening.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just use what's in Lightroom.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use to me the difference, even though Steve Perry I haven't watched yet. I know he did a very intensive video about using the denoise application within Lightroom. I mean to watch it. I haven't had time to watch it. He likes that. But what I do know is if let's say I use a default in Lightroom and I use the default in Topaz denoise, the Topaz file is much larger than the file in Lightroom. So if you want to save space on your file sizes and you like the result of what you can get out of Lightroom, I would recommend Lightroom. If you don't like the result in Lightroom and you want to use Photo AI or their older denoise app, your file size is going to be significantly larger. That's
so anyway, we look for that one, and then I'm scrolling down and see whether that one's there. Because I'm
going to look for that question. I don't see it yet. No.
Yeah. Petapixel's betting high on Sony launching an 80-megapixel Sony A7R6 and a new RX1 in 2025. And we talked a little bit about, my opinion, 80 megapixels is way too much for a hybrid camera, but that's my opinion. Unless they have some new technology to reduce the negative aspects of doing an 80 megapixel sensor, because there are negatives to that. So, and obviously, they said they're gearing up to, answer calls to make a full frame camera that will make the most significant megapixel jump in recent memory. And it says they already have the ability to make a 90 megapixel full frame camera based on Fuji's excellent 40 megapixel APS-C sensor, which I'm assuming is made by Sony and supplied to Fuji. So there's an easy way for them to hit that mark. But what we all know anyway, what holds the sensor back, it's going to have it's going to be the scan speed, but it would have to be a stills focused camera for obviously portraiture, landscapes, still lifes, things like that. It's not going to be a camera. It's once again, it's not going to be a general purpose camera. It's going to be a niche camera, just like the A9 III is a niche camera. You have an 80 megapixel hybrid camera. It's going to be a niche camera as well. Okay, it's not going to be something that you're going to pick up and say, "Oh, I could do everything with this camera," because you won't be able to. You're going to have restrictions.
So Jeff, I found the question from Sanji Pal.
Yeah,
it was at I think in my local time, 1952-13. But I don't know whether the clock is in. So if you look for the little gray number, it was on 1952-13.
Wow, that's way back here.
Yeah, a bit. It's just after I say hello to Greg Wilson.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it, but my timestamp is probably different than your timestamp, right?
So 19 is 7.
Apologize for the sniffles, but I've been sneezing like crazy it's like almost every day. I just have like 8 sneezes in a row, and I feel fine, just sneezing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the heck it is, but it's driving me nuts.
It was early in the show, Jeff.
Okay. I just found Greg Wilson.
Best plan.
Looking for anybody upgraded to Topaz.
Exactly. So bring that one into the
or Photo AI 3. Well, I know that my friend Bob uses Photo AI. I don't know what version it is.
So bring that one into the comments. So
I don't know. No, my friend Bob uses Gigapixel. I don't know what version he has. And he also has Photo AI. Gigapixel, the thing with, I don't know if you realize this or not, but you do have the capability in Lightroom to double your resolution in Lightroom. So if you have let's say you have a resolution of your image is 8 by 12, you could go to 16 by 24.
Exactly.
So you have that capability in Lightroom. Now you also have capabilities in Photoshop, and you have the gigapixel. I actually did do a test where I took the same image, I made an 8 by 12 of it, and I used the 2 times capability of Lightroom, and I made a 16 by 24 print, and I compared them. Unless you want to play rocket scientist, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference.
Exactly.
They look very, very, very good.
So if somebody has a recommendation of this product to Sanjay, let us know and write it in the comment next week.
Yep. And if we remember to ask Bob when he's on early when the show comes on, because he does have Photo AI and he does have Gigapixel. I just don't know what version.
Okay.
because he may already be using it, and he might be the best one to answer that question.
Exactly.
Oh, Terry did respond shortly after that. He has them, and they work very good, but sometimes not 100%. So Terry uses them.
Okay.
Okay.
And let me just scroll down further in case somebody else said something.
Something else off topic. I always use the Tokina 100 mil for macro, but I found in a box, a bit like Roy perhaps at his place, I found a 25-year-old Tamron 90 millimeter macro that I bought a long time ago, and I forgot what happened with that lens. I did not know really how to use macro back then. So I took a few pictures, didn't like it, and I thought, well, just accept that you bought something you don't like. And I put it in a box, and I completely forgot about it. Now I found it back. It has no fungus, nothing. And I took a few shots next to the Tokina, and I actually liked the Tamron better. It's sharper. It is sharper than the Tokina that I have. And I was like, how is this possible?
That length was a good macro.
Well, did you say it was like it's a wide angle macro?
No, it's 90.
90.
90. Oh, it's 90.
And I know, and afterwards I went to check. I mean, Tamron has all kinds of versions of this lens, even a new one for the Z mount now, apparently, yeah. So I have this one from 2000 and I checked, but I don't remember, 2001, 2002, that I actually never used because I took a few pictures. I remember later, I remembered like, oh yeah, because I was taking pictures at f2.8 and I was like, why is nothing sharp or nothing? I don't see anything. So, but of course I did not know how to use the lens. So I put it aside and now I found it back and I actually like it. I don't say better, but it was sharper on the things that I was testing here at home. And the Tokina, which I take it everywhere, and I'm happy with it. So I have to.
Tamron is still a very good brand for macros.
Yeah, so I probably have to take that one on a trip and see how it goes.
I'm going to finish these rumors up, and we're going to call it a night and try to get out of here before.
I have the comment from Mossman. Make me bring this image here that I took this week.
Want to see if we can end before 1 o'clock if possible. So I got to get up earlier tomorrow. So
excellent, very good.
See,
there we go.
So you see, with all these people having mass hysteria with the drones. Okay. So I went to take a photo of the moon. I think it was last week when there was full moon. And you can see there was a plane coming out of the moon.
You had a plane. Well, we do have a moon base. Did you know that?
Exactly.
It's top secret, but obviously you just proved we have a moon base.
It's not top secret anymore.
Not anymore.
Exactly. Talk about my hysteria. Wow, man. But anyway, so there you are, Tim. You can see the drone photos here in my house. Luis, you would appreciate that. We are close to Denver, relatively close to Denver International. So I'm in the flight path of Denver International. So, but my my house, I see drones all the time.
Well, sometimes there are people playing with drones intentionally or not close to airports, and that's not a good thing.
Exactly. Here probably cannot fly anything because there's so many restrictions over my area. I got a military base nearby, and then you have the Denver International flight path. So
yeah, but you'd be surprised how many people don't really appreciate.
Yeah.
I mean, where I live, we have a little airport here, and my house is kind of like right in the flight path, but it's not a very busy airport, so it doesn't bother us at all.
So I'm going to, this is a little project maybe for next full moon, is trying to get a better picture than that one of the moon. That's actually was taken during the morning. So which the air in the morning was not so good. So this is looking west rather than looking east.
Yeah.
So I was doing some photo of the moon. This is not the best, but it captured that plane. So with so many planes, I'm bound to get one with the plane smack on the. If I plan, smack on the middle of the moon.
Yeah, most. If you have a few friends, air traffic controllers, that can bring them right where you want.
Yeah.
With a bit of luck, but it's
No,
possible.
I think
Definitely.
You
I
just
think
gotta,
it's
what
possible.
do they say? You gotta grease the palms, with somebody.
So no drones, Tim.
No drones.
Okay.
The last Sony rumor was of a new Voigtlander Nocton 28 millimeter f1.5 FE lens is going to come out for pre-order in January, but they do not know how much it's going to cost yet. Now, some Fuji rumors. I'll tell you one thing I like about Fuji rumors. Fuji rumors has no problem calling out Fuji if they're PO'd at them for some reason. I mean, other rumor guys don't usually try to hit the bee's nest, if you know what I mean. But for whatever reason, Fuji rumors, if they see something that Fuji's doing that they don't like or whatever, they don't have any fear calling them out. And we'll get to that story in a second. But their first the first thing they talked about was the TT Artisan's 27 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's available now. It's now available in white. I don't know. I'm not into, like, I wouldn't intentionally go out and buy a white lens for any camera body I have, but they now have a white version of that lens. But they already had 3 other colors: black, silver, and, believe it or not, orange. They had orange lenses.
Okay.
Now, they said, according to multiple of their highly trusted sources, as well as a couple of new ones, there won't be any Fujifilm X Pro 4 or X Pro 5 or any X Pro 3 successor in 2024, and not even in 2025. So for those of you who were hoping for something, your hopes have been dashed, apparently.
Okay.
Company called Photodiox that makes adapters for lens adapters is something they make a lot of. They came out with, this is expensive though. They unveiled with the Mamiya 6 lenses used on the Mamiya 6.
Must be expensive.
To go on the Fujifilm GFX. They call it the Mamiya 6, the Fujifilm GFX Fusion adapter, marking the first solution capable of electronically managing Mamiya 6 lenses. It costs only $499.95. They say the Fujifilm XE5 will come in summer of 2025. And they make a comment, note, the source said come in summer of 2025. So he says he doesn't know exactly if that means announced in summer of 2025 or released in 2025. It can also mean that, it could be announced in late spring and ship in the summer, or announced in the late summer and ship in the autumn. But it won't come in early 2025 nor in late 2025. So you guys can scramble your eggs and figure out when it's going to come out. It's going to come out, as I say, it will come out when it comes out. Now they're saying the Fujifilm XE5 will be one of Fujifilm's most exciting announcements of 2025. And then here's where they get interesting. They say, most exciting announcement of 2025 and probably another epic failure due to Fujifilm incompetence in production and delivery, just as it happened with the XE4. And he says, I'm sorry, guys, for this rant at the end of the article, but the Fujifilm XE4 was the most disastrous announcement I can remember. And I remember this. He's true on this. The camera itself was great. But he says, if you think the X100, version 6, John Ishii bought that camera, the X100 version 6 is hard to get. He says, if you think that's a shipping disaster, look at what happened, the history of the XE4. launched January 2021. He found it in stock once in October of 2021. No more stock pretty much anywhere. Discontinued in March of 2023 while tons of people still had one on pre-order, probably to reserve parts to other cameras with higher profit margins. Not even the Fujifilm X100 VI has such a bad shipping record as the XE4. And he says, normally I would now sell his XE3 before the XE5 arrives and then just buy the XE5. But looking at Fujifilm's failure with the XE4, I think this time I'll keep my XE3 until the day I actually own the XE5. I don't want to sell it, then find myself without an XE camera because of Fujifilm's bad production planning. And then he says, Dear Fujifilm, the Fujifilm XE5 could potentially be a massive bestseller for you. Don't mess it up like with the XE4. If you bother to announce an XE5, then please also make sure to produce it in sufficient numbers. So I think he made his point multiple times over. And his frustration, which a lot of people, I think at one time Tim was trying to get an XE4 and wanted to get an XE4, and nobody had them. The fixed lens, we've talked about it. This fixed lens Fujifilm GFX is on its way. Looks like it will introduce a fresh innovation to the Fujifilm X/GFX series that's bound to catch the attention of manual control enthusiasts like him. According to new information, it'll feature a new dedicated aspect ratio dial on the back of the camera. So you could just switch your aspect ratio to whatever you want at the, just move a switch rotate a dial or whatever. That's kind of interesting. Now, Our last thing here is Canon rumors. So they said the Canon EOS R6 Mark III is widely believed to be coming in the first quarter of 2025, either ahead of CP Plus or shortly after. According to Canon rumors in their description, they state the camera will be good, but not revolutionary, and went on to say it will address some weaknesses of the R6 Mark II and introduce a few firsts in the lineup as well. They'll introduce their new flip/tilt screen, similar to what Panasonic and Sony have brought to their cameras. So we'll flip out and rotate as well as tilt up and down, something that Nikon has not done yet. No. The second first will be an OLED screen on the back of the camera versus an LCD, but that's already been done on some Nikon, Sony, and Fuji cameras for a while now. For the rest of the specs, they say to expect a 24 megapixel stack sensor, 30 frames per second if you use electronic shutter frame rate, a digic accelerator chip, CFEB slot paired with an SD slot, and they'll use the LP-E6P battery natively. No word on backwards compatibility on older batteries. Some incremental video improvements and a full-size HDMI port. The camera will not have eye control autofocus, although a resolution bump for the EV is expected. Some cooling changes, but not yet defined. Not sure if it'll use the same venting/grip as the R5 II. They say don't expect C-Log 2. Not sure about C-Log 1. No more info until the New Year timeframe. They say there's no longer a shortage on the EOS R1 or the EOS R5 Mark II. I don't know if that's because they made enough of them or because they don't have as many orders as they thought. I don't know why that's true. It says, according to other sources, Canon has a 29.4% market share regarding camera lenses from January to August of 2024, which is double the amount of the number 2 manufacturer. They say since the launch of the EOS R system in 2018, 42 lenses have been launched in 6 years. And that's all I got for rumors and miscellaneous information. So I think we will call it a night. And I want to thank our guests. I want to thank Luis for coming in and sharing those wonderful images with us.
Fantastic.
We live vicariously through you and your travel experiences that we'll probably never experience, but at least we can enjoy it from somebody else. And we appreciate you spending the time to share with everybody as always. And I actually looked back at your Costa Rica presentation, by the way, the other day, and I was looking at a tour company that you recommended, and I went on their website, and it's tantalizing my taste buds. Let's put it that way, because even though it's a very busy shooting schedule, it's very very well priced, and you should go to a lot of different places. 12-day, they had 2 12-day excursions, and of course one of them, the one that was slightly cheaper, I favored only because the only difference between one and the other was one did I think a boat type of tour, and the other one went on those Indiana Jones type bridges over the mountains or whatever, which you're not going to get me to go on if you paid
the
me
ones you like. The ones you like, right?
The ones I will not go on. So I says, the cheaper package works for me. I don't have to go on the bridges. So, but everything else was the same. So I says, that looks very, very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And I will.
But some of these boat tours in the north, for instance, they can be relatively more expensive because of the boat, because of the fuel and everything else that goes on it.
I'm reading up on it, on what he does, and of course he customizes it too, for groups or whatever. But it looks very interesting, and I'm seriously thinking about it for down the road. Not too far down the road, because I am not getting any younger.
There we go. That's it. Yeah.
Not too far down the road, but I appreciate all the research you did, and I saved everything that you did, and I have it and I appreciate that very much. So, folks, next week is our last weekly live stream. I hope you give me the pleasure of joining us for our last show. Hey, if you just want to joke around and bring up stupid things that we've done over the last year and a half, feel free to do so. I have no problem being embarrassed by people. I get embarrassed by people all the time. So I'm used to it. And I have a good sense of humor. So come on and share your favorite story or your favorite. Unfortunately, I don't have any. It'd be cool if I had some snippets of where we screwed up really bad to share. Bloopers. Yeah, I don't have any bloopers, but anyway, hopefully you guys join us. As always, I appreciate those that join us on the panel, and I sincerely appreciate everybody that takes their time out of their Saturday, or in some cases Sunday morning or afternoon, to come in and spend some time with us. I don't take it for granted, and we appreciate it very, very much. So with that, I say goodbye. I'll let the gentleman to my right say goodbye, and hopefully we see you guys next Saturday.
Okay, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And yes, you're going to end in number 75, which is a good number to end.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Wait a minute. We gotta get it right here. Merry Christmas, everybody. Now it's more official looking. Merry Christmas.
Very good.
Exactly.
And we'll see you next week, which will be the 28th. So right between after Christmas and before New Year's. And don't forget Chuck's gonna be on Christmas Eve.
Christmas, 24th.
Take a peek on his channel, see when his thumbnail comes out, sometime between 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He's going to try to come on for a while. And if you're around, hey, just pop in and say hi. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. So have a good one.
Will do.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Good.